Welcome to the Business Growth Lab, and we are going to be talking today about branding, marketing, and if you want your marketing and branding to actually work in 2025, it's going to take more than just ads and a classy, great-looking website. Most businesses are spending more and more money on just ads and praying that it will work, and in 2025, you've got to lift up the game. It's not going to be enough.
Exactly. Businesses winning this year aren't just marketing more. What they've done is they built a brand that attracts and converts and brings customers really coming back for more and more, which is so powerful. So if your brand isn't positioned just right, there's not going to be a marketing strategy that's going to help you point blank.
So good. So welcome to the Business Growth Lab. This is the show where we break down everything from branding, marketing, business strategies, business development, so you can scale with confidence. Twice a month, we're going to be going live on this channel. So can I ask something from you to support us, to help bring this kind of content to more businesses just like you? Would you hit that subscribe button right now? Would you send us a comment in the chat there and tell us how great Lace looks?
I know. Do it.
Yes, please, we're live. Tell me.
So today we are talking about how to succeed in 2025 in your marketing and in your business. So, Derek Dunn, why don't you start us off here?
I'll start it off. I'm done before I got started. All right. So why do most businesses fail at marketing and branding in this year? What must we do differently? Now, we need to understand that marketing and branding is evolving.
Right.
You always got to be on the edge of what's happening. And so what worked before doesn't work in the same way.
Exactly.
So businesses who just would put an ad out there, they just put spending into their ad and it would work in the previously. Now there's so much competition out there. You've got to really make your brand stand out, and it's not just about putting ads on. And people are, of course, advertising on Facebook ads, Google ads. TikTok has become huge in the last few years. But without a strong brand foundation, it's like pouring water in a bucket with holes, and all you are is bleeding. And that's what we find when our clients come to us. They're so frustrated, like it's not working anymore. And so you want your advertising to amplify a brand that is strong. And many people just don't even understand about branding. They don't have a brand strategy. And therefore that's not working anymore. So in the age that we live in, consumer expectations are shifting, and branding is very much about trust. It's about building a following in this time. So people aren't buying just based on the loudest marketing, just on how many times they see the ad, but they're checking you out. They're looking at your YouTube. They're looking at your expertise in the market and checking you out, going to your website, doing all of those things, where before it was just click and people would be moved emotionally. But with all the ads out there, people get numb to that, and so things are changing. So AI has also changed marketing. And so businesses, if we don't adapt to that, we're going to get left behind. If you're not AI driven, if you don't create automations, you're going to lose the attention span of your buyers or of your clients, and you're going to miss out. And so we want to help you. We've given you come up with what we call our business marketing health assessment. And so this is going to help you in 2025. It's totally free. You can get a report on your business concerning the marketing health, the insights that are going to help you to improve your brand. So check that out in our description there. It's totally free. And this is a free resource that we're going to give to you, and more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the market is so saturated. I think one of the biggest reasons why they fail is you hit on it. It's the trust factor. Don't just be putting out ads. Don't just be putting out content. Really, what are you saying altogether about who you are and symbolizing and putting it out in such a great way? So I love that.
Yeah, so I think that is exactly what Derek said. The ads are the problem, right? So because with ads, you can get right to a person. You can get to that person and you can hit them with as much of the ads as they need to convert and fine tune it. So it's very results driven. So business owners like that. They like the results driven stuff. But what starts to happen is even with a good ad that's running, it's hitting that person, they're not converting. And so you're seeing conversion rates go way down. So that issue is really a branding issue. And so, because people don't really trust them, they're just, there's so many ads. I think every, 3 things of organic content you see 1 or 2 ads. So it's really huge. It's almost at like 50% now of ads. So the trust is just not there anymore.
And I think, the creativity also, because, it used to be, I was looking at a Coca-Cola commercial and then Pepsi commercial. It used to be Coke. You know, you'd see some beautiful woman with lipstick and she's licking her lips and the Coke can open. It's like, buy Coke. That's been oversold. It doesn't work anymore. But I saw a recent Pepsi commercial because Coke had totally outdone Pepsi in their sales. And there was this little boy, and he goes to the machine, and he puts in his money, and he gets 2 Coke cans. You saw that? And he gets 2 Coke cans and literally stands on those 2 Coke cans because the Pepsi button is higher and puts his money in, gets the Pepsi, and walks away. I thought that was just amazing. And so what message were you was it sending?
Absolutely. No, I love that. I think creativity is huge, but you want to, of course, jump on the trends that are happening, but you don't want to focus so much on that you really get away from who you are. A lot of brands are building, what can I do just tactically right now? But you need to build with longevity, and you need to think, how can I be creative, have my messaging and my brand be trusted throughout to where they know who I really am, and you're not just hopping on the bandwagon. So I love that, being creative.
Which is where the brand identity comes back to, because if you just get a marketing person to come in and your branding's not clear, what are they going to do? They're going to do the cookie cutter thing they've done for everyone else. And then you lose your identity. Everyone's like, well, that looks like Coke. That looks like Pepsi. That looks like someone else, because you're emulating that rather than really having your own brand identity, which is really you. The brands that we've talked about this before is the person. That what are you representing? What are you passionate about? What are your values about? And I think consumers want to know that also, and that needs to be communicated in your marketing.
Yeah, I think so. I think the problem is we think of branding and marketing as very elusive. Like, how do you do it? Like this kind of, it's very, it's not very easy to understand for a lot of people. So I think the thing that we have to think about is we're talking to people. Okay. And people are used to relating to other people. Okay. And they're not used to, like, for example, you go on a date with somebody. When you go on that first date, you're not really ready to make major purchase decisions with that person after the first interaction.
Yeah, please don't marry them on the first date.
Don't marry them. Disclosure, don't marry them.
Don't
right?
Take off to Vegas.
Don't take off to Vegas. So, but I think a lot of marketers think like that. They're like, let's just run ads and try and hit that person and get them on the first time to trust you and decide to buy a house with you. Right? And then they're wondering, a lot of business owners that we've spoken to are wondering why it doesn't work. It's the same thinking. Would you make that decision? Would you buy a house with someone the first time you met them? Probably not. So let's try and think of things in more human context. So if you think of it more as building, the brand is the relationship with the person, right? So Lace, you're a brand strategist. Why don't you talk about how do you build relationships with clients? What do they need? What's that trust factor? What develops that?
Yeah, I think you're hitting on so much, and it really comes back to loyalty, because people want to connect with people, and brands really need to have a brand persona. So your brand needs to almost reflect a person, so that you have the voice, the tone, what it looks like, of course, but who they really are for the culture and values inside. So it's so important that we create that loyalty, because we want to not just have transactions altogether. I love Amazon. They've built a great loyalty system to where you can really trust them. What do? Hassle-free returns. You have unlimited resources on reviews. Very easy to navigate the website altogether. So I think it's important to think that, I don't want them to just buy from me, but how can I really get them to have a relationship with me and enjoy? And then what they're going to do is they're going to use word of mouth to even make sure other people know about you. Because how many times have you gone to a business and you just really don't like it? There's one movie theater, I won't name it on here. I don't want to be sued. But I recently had a horrible experience, and I have let everyone know that, hey, this is a company that I don't trust, because they built no relationship with me when there was an issue that arose. And it's so important to realize that they were just seeing me as a transaction.
And we recently had a client, and I think the aha from it, and we with this statement is that most people don't really understand about what branding really is. And then, he kept repeating this statement: the brand is not the
logo.
Not the logo. And I think that is so huge. Even for many business people, they don't understand that. They're just trying to get a font, a color, and put a logo out there and think that's the brand. But the brand is so much more than that.
Absolutely.
As you mentioned, the persona, the personality, and the problem with this example you gave with this movie theater is, I mean, if you go to their website, their values, all of this is there. It's family friendly. It's all this thing, but that's not communicated to the management. It's not communicated to the staff. And so when you go there, you get a totally different experience, which gets you frustrated because there's a disconnect between the brand, the values, the mission, their purpose, and what they say, and what they're actually delivering. And I don't think you can get away with that in 2025.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think what doesn't work in 2025 is just trying to hit people with ads, because everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
I think you got to use ads. Ads are great. You should still use them, but you should use them in a sequence with somebody. So I think first of all, you need to get them like with a person. When you go for a date with someone, you just become aware of them.
Yeah.
You notice they're nice. You noticed, oh, that's quite an interesting personality this person has. Oh, that's nice about them. So how do you do that? That's content, right? So that's different things that you're putting out. Everything from brand content, stuff about you, about your product, about your business, getting to know the personality of this brand, right? Introducing a product, then use ads as they become familiar and they're interacting with you guys. They're ready to buy. They're ready to test it out. So that's kind of, I think, the shift that people need to make. One of the shifts in 2025. It's not just ads. We're going to talk about an ecosystem later. So stay tuned. The best stuff is happening.
You know, another thing, as we were talking, I was just thinking is that, it used to be, we used to say even bad advertising is advertising.
Yeah.
And, as long as you're getting out there in front of people. But I think the expectation of people is higher. And, one thing that I was just thinking about when you're talking, which we didn't bring up yet, is brand confusion.
Yeah.
And I mean, when there's a disconnect between your website, your social media, your ads, all of that. And have you ever done that? You looked at a company and like, is this the same company? Because everything, the color scheme's different. Even the logo, I've been on some and they had their old logo on one page and the new logo on another page.
Confusing.
And it just gets confusing to people, or there's different pictures of, and you're not having consistency. So let's talk about the importance of that, and not having that brand confusion with the customers.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good point, because if we're really looking at as a brand as a person, imagine if I go home to my husband and I'm one person, but then I come to you and I'm another person, and then at my friend group I'm another person. I'm not really representing who I am. So what we need to do for foundation is we need to understand, what is the brand? What does the brand represent? The value system, the culture, how we talk, what we say, even our lingo. I worked for a company and they would always use your last name. So it'd be Mr. Dunn, Mr. Price, that was the whole company's lingo altogether. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So really having those core things down in the personality. And then, like you said, the messaging, being consistent throughout. So whether you're on that website, they have a book, this is the brand. You know who does that well? Nike. They have that great slogan, just do it. But their messaging, they really are doing storytelling throughout. So there's commercials they have, and they're not even selling you their shoes. What they're doing is they're selling the experience of, hey, you can just do it. And that's so much more powerful. And, they said even 2 years ago that branding has completely changed how we market altogether. In 2025, even what we did 2 years ago, it's different. And owners need to understand this. CEOs need to get this down. Because you know what the biggest driving force is? It's actually Gen Z. They have, the up and coming of being able to spend money, but what they think actually reflects brands, and they can sniff out when they realize there's no loyalty here. There's no trusting here. You're not being consistent. What you say here is not really what you do. And we need to recognize that.
And that's where we talked about the ecosystem. You want to talk more about that? About creating
we're gonna jump a whole page of my notes here.
Creating
got some other
ecosystem. Well, we talk about what we can just kind of go into a little bit about how it works together.
We'll
with
give you a taste.
Yeah,
we'll
a little
give
bit
you
of a taste
then. All right, fine. Okay, so an ecosystem. So just if you study just how the Earth works, there are ecosystems, right? So there's things that feed each other, there's things that take away from each other, right? And so each thing is designed to help the next thing grow and to keep a real balance. So it's the same actually in your business. So what we see nowadays is a lot of businesses that are really struggling. And so what they're doing is they're running an ad, or that maybe they have a podcast, or maybe they start one thing, or they even have one great lead magnet, okay? And then it's not converting the way they're wanting. They may be putting a lot of money even into your marketing, into your ads. But what they're seeing is it's not working. So part of the reason is it's not just one part of a system that turns the whole thing. I think of it like a clock. If you just have one cog that's moving, and if it's disconnected from everything, the clock still will not work.
Right.
All the cogs have to be touching, right? And they all have to be turning for
like a puzzle.
Like a puzzle, exactly. So you got that one piece, the puzzle's, everyone's frustrated. Who left the piece?
Who lost the piece?
Yeah, where is it?
So you got to think of it the same way. So that's the understanding. We're going to go into exactly how you build an ecosystem, but essentially the baseline is, in your business, you have to have, there's, I think, 5 stages of an ecosystem. Each of those stages have to feed each other in order for you to get sales and conversions, okay? Yeah. Sales and conversions is a result, okay? It's not just the goal. It's a result. You need to understand that. So it's a result of you doing the rest of the ecosystem, okay? So that's your taster. We're going to go into that later.
which really, you know, we're going to delve into that a little bit later. But really, what is this talking about? You're talking about building a marketing strategy or a system where everything works together. Your social media, your website, your ads, your funnels, all working together. So creating that ecosystem. Again, people are going to multiple platforms, and people are quick to do it. You got to catch their attention quickly. But if you don't have that ecosystem or that marketing strategy, and you're just doing the short term, let's put this ad out there, you're not going to be successful. So let's talk about a little bit more. How do we, and we do this with our clients, bring about a strategy that's going to help them, and what are the pieces of the puzzle that we really need to have? And I know we can't delve into that, but what are just some of those pieces when we look at it?
Yeah, I think really it's about a seamless experience, what you talked about. So if you're just doing social media, you're doing it wrong. If you just have your website, you're doing it wrong. I love that, the puzzle piece. We really need all the pieces working together, really in cohesive, to where we understand that when I go there, I'm seeing that I can also buy from you. I can see what you represent all together, whichever platform I'm on. So really, let's say that, you know, today we have our live YouTube that's going on, but if we don't post about this on, you know, our website, if we don't even do a short about it, you know, or a reel, or put it on TikTok, we're actually not hitting everybody. It's doing us a dissatisfaction just putting it on one platform altogether.
Yeah, so it's one part of a puzzle, right? So this is, so for example,
the whole picture we need.
Yeah, you need the whole picture. So this live stream is a part of the puzzle. It's you getting to know Lace, the brand strategist, is getting to know Derek, the business consultant, right? So it's getting to know them, okay? That's part of the core thing of the reason why people engage with you, is they know you, they trust you, they like you, and they're ready to engage with you, right? So that's one part. Okay, what would be some of those next parts? And we're going to get into that in a second here. I'm going to keep you hanging. I want to touch on, hold on, Derek, the biggest reasons businesses are failing in 2025, because we want to make sure that we hit that. So we've touched on it, but focusing on a tactic rather than a full system.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of talking about that now. So tactic would be just an ad. It would be running a podcast alone. It would be maybe you're posting different articles. It would be maybe just doing one business event, and there's not a full system. So Derek Moore is a business consultant. Why do businesses do that? And then what do they need to do instead of that?
I think they need to hire us as their brand consultants and business. A little pitch there.
Yeah.
But I think really they don't understand the strategy. And so they're just coming up with short-term ideas.
Yeah, that's it.
To put something out there. Okay, we need an ad. We've got a product. Let's just do this. And many times they're looking to what they've done in the past. And that's not working. So you got to have a marketing strategy where you're having all these pieces. And like you mentioned, it's not just putting out a Facebook ad out there. You've got to touch all the social media. It's got to be consistent with your website. Landing pages are huge right now. And having, you know, just conversion page where you're running ads to that versus just boosting, which is in the past. So I think, you know, you need to have a marketing strategist to help you in that, a brand consultant helping you in that. So there's a long-term strategy, so we know where we're going and we're not just reactionary or just trying to put something out there. I think in 2025, if you do that, like we mentioned, you're just going to be wasting a lot of money.
Yeah, so good. I'll jump in there. I just don't, like, for example, if say you make shoes and you're a master shoemaker, okay, I don't come into your shoe shop and say, you know what, maybe I won't pay you to make the shoes. I can just take your tools and make the shoe myself, and it'll be cheaper to do. But the thing is, it's going to take me 6 or 7 times as long, and the shoe is going to last me maybe a
even
week.
longer than that.
Maybe even
Maybe
longer.
longer.
So this is the problem. Business owners, marketing is not something you can just do, right? It's not a skill that you can just pick up all these tools and just make it work yourself. You need specialists who do this. That's what Derek's saying. So know what's in your wheelhouse as the business owner, as the business operator. It's okay. You have the big vision. But bring in people that this is where they live. They understand this. They live and breathe
Specialists.
branding and marketing. It's going to save you a whole lot of time and stress and ultimately money, because you're going to go and buy all the tools and then it's not going to work. And then you're going to wonder why. You're going to lose business that you could have had if you'd just done it right the first time.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think we need to understand, as a business owner or CEO, whatever you're doing, you're looking at your budget, but your time is the most valuable resource.
Yeah.
And so even though there's an investment to get someone to do that, but you mentioned 6 or 7 times longer to do it yourself, or to that learning curve, and then are you going to do it as a higher level? It's much better to put that investment, even though there is an investment, but you're going to get an ROI on it. It's going to take less time and get it done, and less stress. And so outsourcing to people that are able to do that, if you don't have that team in house, is so important. And I think if you're not doing that, you're not going to be on the cutting edge. You're going to lose market share and impact in 2025.
I would say get around people who are smarter than you. I think one of the biggest things you talked about is maybe it will take them 6 to 7 years, but probably they're going to spend more money in doing a longer process, and then things are going to change also in the market. So we need to recognize that. So I think innovation is really key, and making sure we're getting around people who think bigger, think better, think smarter, using technology to our advantage as well. I mean, one thing I love about Tesla, is that you can really trust the technology, that it's on cutting edge.
Right.
What Elon does, even about the tweets, or now it's X, that he puts out, so unpredictable, but he's engaging.
Oh, don't get me started. That was a move.
But he's engaging with his audience. He's building that trust. He's being innovative. He doesn't have one dealership. If you really think about that, he has showrooms, and it's an experience.
True.
So what are you doing that maybe you can get around someone that can spark that idea of innovation in you, help you get there? And I think it's really investing in yourself and investing in your company to grow it bigger.
And that's why they need to book a call with us.
That's right.
You want to talk about how they can do that? If those are watching and you need an expert, what can you do, Lace?
So there's many things you can do. You can book a strategic growth call. Stumbled there. Strategic growth call.
That. That's a new type of call we got.
So we'll leave it just down below in the description. So please do that. It's completely free, complimentary, and we can really be here as a resource to help you in this journey.
Really good. Lace, okay, the next thing that I see here on the list of biggest reasons businesses are failing is a fragmented brand presence. So you touched on it, but can you go a little bit deeper with that for us? What does a fragmented brand presence look like on social media? What have you seen? And then what are some of because you're doing this, what are some of those results? Maybe they're not converting. Maybe if you could go into that touch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many different areas of this. Really what it means is it's broken.
Yeah.
And you're not doing things right. Again, I talked about Gen Z will help you if you get on and jump on the bandwagon of the trends, because they'll help you with engagement. A lot of people say it's like, oh, the algorithm's like working against me. Like, why isn't my video going viral? It's not. These companies actually want you to be engaged and have content that's good so they can push it to other people.
Right.
But the thing is, let's say you have 10,000 views and likes on one post, and Gen Z is helping you because, it's a trendiness to it. At the end, to get conversions to it, you still want to find your target audience. Who is it that you're speaking to in that? That way it's not broken, because sure, you can have a viral video, but you want longevity in it as well.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, which goes back to targeting too. You need to have people that know how to target. Algorithms are changing. Google has changed. Facebook has changed.
Don't get me started on Google. Google, if you're watching.
We love you. We love you. I love you.
Yeah.
But you need someone who is on the edge of that, so you know what you're doing, because things are changing all the time. Algorithm recently just changed again. And so it's a constant learning curve. And again, I think, outsourcing is important to have people who know and specialize in that to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think another thing we got here is chasing trends rather than having a foundational strategy.
Yeah.
So, Lace, maybe touch on that for us. How do you strike a balance between, okay, maybe there is a trend on social media and you want to catch on with that, and then at what point do you see this doesn't align with our brand? I don't do that.
Yeah, I think this is so good. I can't remember his name, but there's this guy on YouTube, and he has a leather company. And what he was doing is he was just showcasing his product. He was saying, this is my great product. This is what you can buy. And it wasn't really working. He kind of hit a plateau. And so he realized, I need to do something different and I need to get in the trends. But he's a middle-aged man, maybe young. I'm not sure exactly his age, but he can't be doing TikTok dances like a girl or bringing in a cat because it has nothing to do with his brand at all. So he had to be really innovative in his thinking. And so what he does is he'll go and buy other designer brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and he will take the leather apart. And literally that has brought his engagement up. And he doesn't do any call to actions. All he does is he's being himself, staying in his lane, but he's building trust. He's building loyalty. He's making sure that, hey, I'm not just hopping on, this viral moment of this new dance that's there, but he's really building, hey, this is what you're going to get when you come here from me. And people love it. And his sales have skyrocketed because of that.
Yes. Awesome. So it's finding that uniqueness, but then someone's going to go copy that and try to do that. And so sometimes there is that part of where you can emulate what others are doing. We have sometimes those things that go viral where people are families doing some little dance or doing some little thing, and it's that but you need to keep that uniqueness you mentioned. But one thing we notice also is picking what's the music that's trending. Yeah. And just kind of putting that song on the back of your ad on social media. All those guys is going to help because that song's trending right now. And so you can do things like that to add what's trending, keep yourself relevant. Yeah. You're not using music from the 90s because that's your genre and that's your era. No. But what's trending in that, but keep that uniqueness. And it's not difficult, but I say that icing on the cake. It's not the cake, but it kind of gives a little bit of flavor and people can relate to it because it triggers something in their mind when they're looking at it.
Yeah, that's good. I think you have to first of all, know who you are. Yeah. And then I think work from that place. And know who you are would be know your brand. What are you about, right? And then work from there. Someone I've seen do it really well was Ryan Reynolds. Ryan really pulls in a lot of his personality, his brand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Into his ads.
That's true. He is a brand.
He is a brand. I always see his ads for Mint Mobile, and so Mint, it's a nice little shout out for you here. I've been liking your ads.
Smart move.
There you go.
It was like
but what he's doing is, so the whole idea with Mint is it's reasonably priced phone care, basically. So everything kind of to do with servicing of your phone, Wi-Fi, cellular, X, Y, and Z. But it's reasonably priced. So he'll bring that into his ad. So he had this ad where it's the same ad that's run, and then he turned it upside down. And he said, we're reusing this ad so we can save you on your phone bill. And so this is very much his quirky personality. Yeah. Like if anyone else did that, we would think, what are they doing? Yeah. But it works because it's his personality. So I think it's a strike between the two things. Follow trends, yes, stay relevant. Those things are really important. But a trend is not a plan.
Right.
Because you're following a trend when it comes. The trend will leave, and that's not a plan to keep following trends.
You're always behind the game.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Because there's always someone who started the trend. You have to think from the point of how do I understand where people are in today's world? What do people love? What's my brand? What's unique about me? And then what's my unique message? That's a very unique message that Ryan's using. He's using, I'm quirky, I'm different, I'm unique, along with I'm going to save you money. And he's tying these two things together here. So if you don't have that brand foundation, like what Lace has been talking about, you can't pull from that because you're pulling it thin air. You're like, I'll follow Nike or I'll follow whoever else because they did it. That's not going to help you. People see through it. Gen Z sees through it. And they're like, this is just another trend follower.
Yeah. And I think one thing that you said is still using, like music, because that will provoke a feeling on the inside of you, not using something that's outdated to your advantage, that's not going to help you to your advantage at all. But also really making sure that you're establishing your authority. And so what you're saying is making it really clear to people that this is who I am, so they can really get behind you. One thing that we talk about is really creating true fans. And we want to do that. We want to have customer loyalty. I mean, you look at Whole Foods, there's a certain type of person that goes to Whole Foods.
Tell me about it.
My husband says he goes in there, he feels skinnier as he's eating chips from Whole Foods aisle.
Healthy.
Yeah, healthier. But they establish an authority out there. So making sure that we're doing that as well in our messaging, because if not, again, we're just going to be chasing trend after trend and not really building long term.
So hold on, let me ask you some questions there. So I know that in branding, when you're doing it with clients, one of the things that you're looking for, can you guys hear me? I had the mic down here. Gotta have it. The sound people are gonna get at me later. Anyway, Lace, so you're looking at a persona, like a persona of who are you going after? What's the process that you kind of go about when you're trying to find that person? How do you kind of do that? For those that are watching, maybe there's business owners, they're like, who is the person I'm trying to reach? Maybe you know some about them, but you haven't really internalized
Your ideal client.
Absolutely. I think you need to have a brand persona, but you also need to have like your top 2 customer personas. So what does that mean? So who are you servicing right now that's doing really well?
Yeah.
I recently worked with this company that does psychology, and his main target audience is really going to be parents with young children and teenagers. So when we went through and we did his whole rebranding, we weren't really going after the seniors.
Yeah.
And so we needed to make that very apparent. So, we're not going to be going into the senior centers, advertising in the newspaper. We got to really make sure, where are we putting ourselves and positioning ourselves in the market to where we hit that target audience. So being in schools instead, going inside books, going where they're shopping, if they're at Target, Costco, being in that area. So you really need to establish who is that customer persona that's buying and really bring it down to 0.0. And it can always expand and grow, but you want to niche it down. That way you're not talking to everybody, because you're going to spend so many resources. You talked about the ads, putting out content. If you're talking to everybody, you're in fact talking to no one. So really position yourself in the market. Who do I need to target after? And let them also bring a referral business to you, because word of mouth is so powerful. So you really need to establish their pain points, their frustrations, how they act. You need to look at those things. And then off of that, you can have a solution. And there's this thing in branding, it's called filling the gap. So the gap in the market. And I like to picture it as a bridge. We need to really mend that gap. And where is the space that we can be all together? Maybe it's an unmarked space as well. Maybe, with the psychology, we're doing it to a degree, but there's more that we can do. And so we really need to look at that all together.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about Ryan Reynolds and his company, when he was doing the marketing for that. Who are they targeting? Gen Z.
Yeah.
And so it's
100%.
quirkiness. It's, it's people who don't want to be on a subscription plan. They're not worried about international roaming plans.
No.
They're probably college students starting out. And so they're going, I look at the ad, I think, they're hilarious, but I'm not interested in going with that company. I want a bigger company that I know, because I travel and has those kind of plans. They're not targeting me,
right?
Even though I enjoy the ads. So again, who's that target audience? But if I wanted to go and just take that, and my audience is families or the 40s to 60s, that's going to backfire, even though it might be trending in one arena. So market research is really important.
Yes.
Who's your ideal client? Where are they shopping? Where are they going? What's resonating with them? And then having a strategy that is going to speak the language of who you're trying to reach.
Yeah, you need to look at who your competitors are as well, and how you can become head and shoulders above them as well. Because go ahead.
Yeah, and just had an idea. My coaching, what I do is I get people to say, hey, if you're wanting to break in an industry, find out who's doing the best in the industry. Go and look at what they're doing on their social media. Go and look at what they're doing, and then don't copy it, but emulate that.
Yeah.
And what's going to do? You're going to probably find the same success, because they paid agencies and people with big bucks to learn how to do it. And you're just like, oh, okay. And but what you're going to do, and you can start out like that, but eventually you got to come into your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. I'm laughing. The director just told me smile.
Oh, no.
Too serious.
Samuel, smile more.
Anyway, very good. Thank you, Mr. Director, back there. So I think the other thing is to understand is that in a market, there is sub-markets. Okay, so say, for example, the phones. Why are there so many phone companies? and how can they all stay in business? Because they're all going after slightly different people.
Yeah.
So, for example, with Derek, he's got a family. He's wanting a family plan. And what does he want? Stability, speed, and he wants a company that's not going to go out of business anytime soon, because then he has to change over all of his stuff.
And I want unlimited.
And he wants unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay? A student, what did they want? They want it cheap.
Yeah.
They want it reasonably fast.
Yeah.
Okay? And they want it, they don't need to have it in all of the states. They may just limit it to where they are. So, like, these are different things that are sub-markets.
And they're afraid of a contract.
And they're afraid of a contract.
So commitment from them.
So month to month. So
Yeah.
you have to understand the psychology of who you're going after.
Yeah.
You're working with a psychology company, but who are they going after and what's their psychology, right? It's the same thing. Every person that you're going after thinks a little bit different. They have different pain points, things that hurt them. For Derek, if his cellular doesn't work in when he goes across the state lines, that's a real problem for him. But
or in Asia or in Europe.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
that's
Dangerous.
a real problem for him because he's traveling, right? For someone who's a college student, that makes no difference at all. So what's a real pain point to someone like Derek versus a college student is completely different. So you got to understand these things, especially as you're doing your branding. What are those pain points? What are those things that drive people, and how can you be a solution? These are gaps, like in the cellular data system. These are the gaps that people are touching on. So it's the same with your business, whoever you are. What are those gaps in the market? How do you begin to fill them? Yeah.
Love it. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about marketing, branding, and we mentioned about the ecosystem. Let's talk about why that's the future, and instead of just running random marketing tactics and trying to throw stuff out there and see what sticks. When I first learned how to make pasta, what did they tell you? Throw it on the refrigerator. If it sticks, then it must be done.
What?
It works.
Who told you
it
this?
works. It works. So
Does it?
it does. And so it doesn't stick, and it doesn't. It's not done.
I went to culinary school. They never said that.
That's so funny.
But that's not the best way to learn. Now I've learned to time it precisely.
I've
learned how to make it al dente, and I've grown since then.
Oh
but
my gosh.
sometimes that's what people are doing. They're just throwing stuff out there to see if it sticks, if it works. And again, I believe in 2025 that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're still thinking about the pasta.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna be cooking
about
tonight,
pasta.
throwing
I
pasta.
did not get that in culinary school.
So let's
Let's
talk about that ecosystem and how do we again create something for that ideal customer.
Yes.
That is going to cause them to trust us, really.
Yeah. I think it really comes down to these 3 points. Who you are, why does that matter, and really what are you offering?
Say that one more time. Who you are.
Who you are,
Take notes, people.
why
does
it
that
matters,
matter?
and what are you offering? So we need to know who you are in this ecosystem. It's just like biology. There's living organisms in that. We need to make sure if we have an empty space that we fill it with water,
Yeah,
so we can have actual living, fishes and animals in it. And so we need to understand who are you, and then why does it really matter what you're selling me? Why do I want to get behind this?
Yeah.
And then really, what are you offering? It's so important to give people value these days, and give it to them also in bite-sized content. Putting out free content for them, ebooks, the lead magnets that we have as well. Making sure people know, hey, I want to offer value to you. It's going to position you in such a better place.
If this is helping somebody and you feel you're wasting money on marketing, this is speaking right to you, let us know. Just click me in the chat. Put me in the chat so that we can know. Because I think all of us,
M-E.
we can, me. We can all do better in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say your 3 points again, because I wanted to touch on one of those.
Yeah. So we really need to ask ourselves, people need to know, who are we as a brand? Okay. So why does it matter, and what do you offer?
Very good. So what would you say is, looking at it, you see a lot of different brands and businesses. Out of those 3, what's probably the most important, would you say? And then what is the one that you see people struggle with the most?
So they're all important, and they're all intertwined together. And we hit on the branding of who you are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would never say that, 1, 2, 3, this is the position. They all need to work together. I think that's the ecosystem. But I think it's also why does it matter? You know, if you're going to have a cell phone company and there's so many out there, or a shoe company and there's so many out there, or a car dealership, why does it really matter of what you're offering me? Again, what Tesla is doing, they're making sure they're also taking care of the environment.
Yeah.
They're creating, yes, an experience that people like, but they're looking at the longevity of it as well. And a lot of people are concerned about our carbon footprint. So we got to think of it. Why does it matter? There's this drink out there. I can't remember the name of it. Death by Water, I think it is. Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh, but basically
Gen Z drink.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think that's the name of it. But the whole marketing in that is making sure people drink water and make sure it's fun. But what they're doing is, hey, we're not using plastic. We're using aluminum. Wow.
Aluminium. No. I don't know what it is.
We all say different. Tomato,
yeah,
aluminum.
Exactly.
Right.
For recycling, because that gets recycled more than plastic. Yeah. And so they're educating their audience of why this matters. And people literally are like, oh, this is the best drink that is out there. And they get behind it. And what they do is they create a following in it as well. So it's like they're part of a community. So that's why it matters. They're hitting that touch point for them. Yeah. And people want to be a part of something. People want to be a part of a tribe. People want to come together with a community of like-minded people. Don't let me even touch on Lululemon. People go crazy because what they've built all together. And really, it's just another athletic clothing brand, but they've built it as so much more.
Yeah, I think it's building that tribe that we talk about sometimes in marketing, and just putting my coaching hat on when we talk about who we are.
Yeah,
it's not sometimes we're so into who we are in this whole thing, but are we relevant?
Yeah.
Who you are, I think when I think of that and when we coach our clients is like, what problem are you solving? What service are you delivering to people at a high level? And that's really who you are. Well, we're bakers and my grandma has this cooking recipe of these cookies that are, and they all taste like chalk and they're nothing. Well, that's who you are, but that's not going to help you be successful in business. Yeah. And you need to know, like, what problem are you solving? What mess, and that goes into your messaging, your marketing. And like you mentioned, who we are people that promote water, but it's not really water. It's a cause of the environment. And who are you targeting? The greenies and all those kind of people out there. And there's a whole tribe. And we talk about Whole Foods, and there are the people there, and they just eat vegetables and those kind of things. So you're going after that kind of your languaging, everything's there. So in who you are, but then what problem are you solving? Are you bringing a service? Back to Ryan Reynolds, what is he doing? He's creating something, and he's not oversaturating the market and trying to be T-Mobile or Verizon.
Right. Yeah.
He's doing a whole nother niche, and he's probably buying their network time. It's not like he created a new network. I'm sure he's riding on their networks, but that's not communicated. It's in the small print.
Yeah.
But you're speaking a message to people. You don't want to be on a contract. You want to save money. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to pay $100 for a phone bill.
Yeah.
Right.
And speaking that late, so you're solving a problem, and that's very much who you are in it. And well, this is who I am, and I like this. Well, you're dated. You look like you're from the 70s.
Yeah.
Unless you're targeting people who just like retro, and they're going for that, you're gonna miss out on the clients that are there. So we have to adapt who we are in the sense of who we are and who are we reaching. If we're just stuck in that identity without bridging the services or the value we're bringing, we're also going to miss that connect. So I was just thinking that as you go along.
And that's why the three of them are all intertwined, because it even goes back to this of like, what do you offer? Yeah. You know who did this wrong? Blockbuster. Yep. Now, when I was a little girl, when
they're
you
not around anymore.
And I know, but if you really remember when I was a little girl, we'd go to Blockbuster on Friday night. You get your VHS and then eventually the DVD. You have 24 hours to bring it back. But there was a whole experience of even going there with the family. Yep. They have the popcorn, the
Friday
candy.
Nights.
Yeah,
there
and
you
you
go.
buy
Get
it.
your pizza and go to Blockbuster.
But that was something that they offered in that
Z's
time.
like, what?
Yeah, there's one Blockbuster out there still, but other than that,
There's
just for nostalgic,
factors. I want to go.
But the thing is, that was the experience of what they offer. But times change, and you know who did it well? Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Now the
Digital.
experience, is I can just sit on my sofa. I can DoorDash my food right to me, and then I have
monthly subscription that's cheaper than a night at Blockbuster.
It's true, and I don't have to wait 24 hours the next morning, Sunday morning, try to put it back into that little slot. And so it's really important to knowing what do we offer and are we staying on trend and changing with where times are. And I think it's so important to do that because if not, you're going to get left behind and in the dust and lose out on money.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a statement that the message can be the same, but the methods adapt. And I think that's the thing. Your value, 100%. Your service of what you're wanting to give is there, but looking at the latest methodologies. And Blockbuster's not around because they refused to go digital. Yeah. And they were offered to partner with, I mean, if you know the story,
it's wild.
With the Netflix model and to bring things into that. And they said, oh, no, we don't want to do that because they wanted the mom and pop stores. You know, brands that have not gone online are not around because of
hurting
COVID.
them. Yeah.
Hurt it. I mean, restaurants that are still around, why are they still around? Because they got on the DoorDash trend or the Uber Eats or whatever you're using. But those that didn't, well, that's too complicated. I don't want to mess with that. Many of them are out of business because that was what kept people in business during COVID. And now, I mean, how many of you DoorDash last week? You know, it's so convenient for you, but that's the trend. Online, Amazon's killing things.
Yeah.
And for me, most of the times I shop and I know my the brands I like, I buy it online. I know my size. I know what I want. I look at it. If I don't like it, I can return it. But why do I want to go and park and drive around, you know, try to find parking, go into a store, and then they happen to be out of my size?
Right.
It's so convenient. But if you're not moving towards that, you know, you can have a great product, but you become irrelevant.
Yeah. Really imagine if restaurants back in the day just stayed at stationary restaurants, no drive-through. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that? You know how many times I go through Starbucks drive-through? And then to think also now I can get it delivered. So we need to think what is constantly changing and be on that train as well. So we really don't miss it altogether.
Now there's some coffee, it's drive-through only.
Yeah, truly.
It's taken over.
Which I don't mind.
I don't either.
I like sitting in the coffee shop. But
and I think, you know, the online ordering. That's another thing. It's huge. I go to Starbucks. We did it this morning on the way here. You know, I went and picked up salmon. We're riding together today, and I did my mobile order, went there, 2 minutes, it's there, out, you're in your car. You know, I ordered breakfast, did the same thing, went through the mobile, drive-through, gave my name, didn't even have to wait for my order. I was out in 30 seconds.
Wow.
And I mean, that's fast food at a whole nother level. Yeah. But if we're not doing that thing and investing in technology, we're going to miss out because people are used to that and they want that at their fingertips. We go to a gym and, you know, a lot of the people, my friends, I've motivated them to go to the same gym, but their app is amazing. You can book your class online. You can cancel it. Everything's online. It sends you an email with your workout and your heart rate and all of that. That's where things are moving. And you could have the best gym, but if you don't get into those tools, you're going to become irrelevant.
Very good. So now let's dive into the ecosystem. You've been waiting.
Finally,
if you're still here, you are ready for the gold. Okay, so the ecosystem. How does this work? So understanding, I think as Derek said, it's not one part of an ecosystem. It is the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
That is
you need all the pieces of the puzzle.
You need all the pieces. You need all the cogs to turn each other in order for this to work.
Cogs?
So
what's a
cog? Cog in your clock.
I think it's the hands. Us Americans talk about the hands.
Interpret for the American audience.
What?
It's okay.
The little cog that turns.
The hands.
Yeah, it's called the hands. The little hand, the big hand. That's okay though.
No. We're gonna get this sorted. I'm not talking about the little thing that moves.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the cogs inside. There's little cogs that turn.
The mechanics.
The mechanics.
Oh, the cogs. The
What
cogs
do you Americans call it?
Cogs are
British people back me up
what the
here.
Dutch wear. They
That's
wear
what I
those
was thinking
cogs.
of. Not
clogs.
Okay. Commercial break there.
Oh my goodness.
Just so you guys know what he's talking about. Go
Online
ahead.
people, help me out.
The
here.
mechanics.
The mechanics. All right,
Yeah.
we'll speak American. Okay, the mechanics. All the mechanics have
You
to
got to pull your leg a little bit.
have to work
We love
together.
you, Samuel.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about the
Ecosystem.
The ecosystem. Thanks, Derek. The 5 core cogs or mechanics of this ecosystem. So I think the first one is going to be brand positioning and messaging. I'll just run through them all and then we'll dive into each one. So brand positioning and messaging. So that's going to be your brand identity. That's going to be your value proposition, and that's going to be how you're going to differentiate from everybody. So that's one mechanic to it. Then the second is going to be your content and thought leadership. So this is going to be how you're bringing valuable content, and that's going to build authority and it's going to attract leads. So this is really on building trust. So this trust factor has to come.
Yeah.
So this is why people choose to listen. I think, okay, this person is bringing a level of value, and then go from there. Right. Then the third part of the mechanics is going to be the lead capture and nurturing. So that's going to be turning website visitors into people who are now on a subscription list, and that can be various different ways that you can do that. We'll touch on all those things. Turning social media followers into leads. It can be, you can even do this through live events. So we'll go into all that in a second here. Fourth cog is going to be community and engagement. How do you do that? So strengthening trust, getting them into different groups, building relationship before the sale. So the biggest reason sales don't close is people don't fully trust. They don't really believe that this could actually work or it's going to solve my problem. Okay, so when you get into things that are over $100, they start asking this trust question. Okay, when it's toothpaste, it's a lot easier to sell, but anything over than that, it's a trust thing. Okay, then conversions and sales. That conversions and sales strategy, which Derek is a master salesman, business salesman, so he's going to go into that. But that's going to be everything from optimizing funnels, follow-ups, and a personalized, write that word down, personalized sales process. So 5 cogs.
Let's run through them one more time for those. Trainer hat on. For those taking notes, what are the 5? One more time.
5 cogs. Brand positioning and messaging, content and thought leadership, lead capture and nurturing, community engagement, and then conversions and sales strategy. So let's go into each of those. But before we do, Lace has made an incredible brand builders training video. For those of you who are like, my goodness, all this stuff with branding and how do I do it? Yeah. Actually, she made a training video for you and it's free. I don't believe it, but apparently it is. So you can go here into the description and click on the brand builders training video and get the multi-million-dollar brand strategy and how these big companies doing it. Lace has broken it down for you. So, shall we go into the first part, Derek?
All right, so let's talk about brand positioning and messaging. We kind of alluded a little bit to that. So again, it's your identity. We've talked a lot about that. We could be talking about that the whole show because there's so much in that. Yep. But your value proposition. And I think that's where we kind of start talking about what is your service or how is your product going to help people. You need to have your brand proposition, and that begins to very clearly talk about what value or what services you're going to add to people, and it's the why of your brand. And so we need to have that so that we know who we're trying to serve, who is our ideal audience, what that's going to help us with our strategy and our marketing to know who that's there. So it's very important. And then your differentiation. Yeah. What makes you different? If you're just going to copy, you know, I've traveled overseas. You ever travel overseas and there's like they have a golden arch, but it's like a little bit different. And it's not McDonald's. It's McRonald's or something like that. And everyone knows. And they tried to do that even with Apple. And it's like, it's a knockoff. Don't be a knockoff. So you have to differentiate from your competitor. You know, Nike's done a great job. There's so many things out there. We talked about Lululemon, you know, Adidas. That they all have, you know, they're all sportswear, but they have a differentiation in what they do and who they go after and their marketing and gives them a style. And I like all of them. You know, and I'll go through all of them. Lululemon's got to wait for the sale, man. Sometimes it's ridiculous.
Expensive, but worth it.
But it's all about that little L, you know, the lemon on there, whatever their logo is, you know, and having that on your thing. People pay.
It's not a lemon.
It's not the L. I don't know what it is. It's like
Sally doesn't buy
the Lululemon logo. But they've differentiated. So what you're creating that following, you're creating that tribe. You know, and we've talked about this in other episodes we've done. You look at the Android user and the Apple user.
Oh, split market.
Total split market and like loyal people. I say when you go to Mac, you never go back.
Yeah, Apple
and
here.
Some people are diehard Android, will not, you know, Samsung Galaxy rules. And, you know, they're in that market. But what have they done? They differentiated. And so they can get a major market share. Coke and Pepsi. You go to the north, everything's Pepsi. I'm from Atlanta, it's all Coke. And like there's a, you know, like, what? You don't have Coke? And people get upset. And you don't have Pepsi? Out in California, we don't really care. We drink sparkling water and, you know, we're more health conscious. But again, differentiating from your competitors, which is going to give you a market edge. And so that positions you, and then your marketing is communicating those things to people and who you're trying to target. So you go towards that market and that's going to give you a market leverage.
Yeah. And when you do that, there's really important aspect that clarity is what's going to build the trust.
Yeah.
So when you are differentiating yourself altogether, you need to make sure, okay, my strong values that I'm positioning, I'm really clear in communicating, this is who I am, this is what I represent, and it's in all of my messaging.
Yep.
I mean, you hit on Nike. Really, they have positioned themselves through purpose.
Yeah.
This is huge. They say things like, anyone who has a body, you're an athlete. That's huge.
Yeah.
And it's so important because everybody has a body. Yeah. You
Great
know?
messaging.
And so it's making sure that this is what's going on throughout. And I put here every campaign, it reinforces this, it motivates, and it brings a performance. And this is really what makes them different. And so regardless if you're in the same field, you need to think of that. Am I being really clear in my messaging so people can really trust who I am? And is that throughout my brand?
Love it.
Very
Love
good.
That. Reinforcing,
Yeah.
motivating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what marketing is.
Right. So in this stage, which is the positioning and the messaging, brand identity is really important.
Yeah.
So your logo is not your brand identity. Let me just say
Say it
this
one more time. Ready?
Yeah.
one
1, 2,
more
3.
time.
Your logo is not your brand identity.
That is known as your visual identity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Your brand is not your logo. Okay. I felt there's one more person who needed to hear that. So just letting you know there. Okay.
Many people need to hear that.
Yes.
And that's the biggest confusion when we start working with clients.
My goodness.
It's true. Because they'll go and they'll be like, oh, I got this great logo they just built, or they just got some, college
On
student.
AI.
Yeah. Oh, please.
I got my AI
Don't
logo.
even-
Paid $150 on
on Fiverr, something
somebody
like
in
that.
India
Yeah.
designed for you or somewhere else.
Goodness.
Yeah, so important. Yeah, it's not. Go ahead, Samuel.
So, anyway, I was going to ask you, Lace, could you simplify what you feel really branding is, the process of that, explaining it to someone who's maybe they've, because there's a lot of businesses they've got going, they've already been doing business for a long time, they have a level of success, but their brand is not the brand that they want.
Which brings us into rebranding sometimes.
That's so funny. I was just about to touch on that. Sometimes we need to go through a rebranding because what was working 10 years ago or even 5 years ago may not be working now. And we do that. I'll take people through the rebranding process. And I've had some clients come to me and they have their mission and it's 3 pages long and their vision, another 5 pages. And so it's all over the place. And really what we do is we're like, your vision needs to be short. It needs to be concise and to the point, and then your mission and your purpose. And so we build exactly everything that they want. And we literally ask them questions that sometimes seem repetitive, but people will speak in patterns. So I'm always looking for the pattern of what are you actually trying to say. Yeah. And I have this great example of, when I was really young, I used to wait tables, and I would always know that I was the communicating piece from the person at the table, get exactly what they want and bring it to the chef. Because sometimes people are like, oh, I want a sunny side up egg. But really to them, that doesn't mean a sunny side up that our chef makes. So making sure I'm pulling out of them, what is it that you want to say for your brand? What do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like, taste like, all of those things, and making it really clear. And once we extract that information, then we can begin to build. In that also, we need to establish goals. What are your goals of where you are right now and where you want to go? And what's so crazy about people just thinking, oh, my logo is just representing who I am? No, it's not. If you look back, you can Google this at Starbucks logo. Over time, it has had to change altogether.
All the big companies.
Yeah, completely.
Apple, Nike.
Yeah, they had to rebrand. And my favorite are always the ones that are just the easiest to remember because they stick with you. The easiest to draw. I can close my eyes and I can really picture it because it really, is memorable. And so I think that they have to understand that they have to go through this process to really establish those things. And some people, especially business owners, get stuck where like, oh, I did that at one point. I sat down. But our process, sometimes I'm 4 to 6 hours, in a client meeting, really getting what is it that you want to build so we build it right. Yeah. There's nothing worse than building on the wrong wall.
Which, Derek, I asked you this question because we see this a lot of like business owners are like, well, I just need to start. I just need to do it, and maybe I think the beginners are like this. They're like, I just need to focus on getting sales, right? And it's all about making money. And this is, I think, great. But the branding affects that. And then you've got a whole nother person they're already doing business. They're already doing well, but they started like that person. And now they've got a brand that really isn't what they wanted. Yeah. But it does make money.
Yeah. So I think it's fine tuning that, I do coaching for people. And if you don't have resources, what what can you do? You just have to start, because
Yeah.
you've got no money for branding. You've got no money to design a proper logo. So you just start, but your impact is going to be a lower level. You're not going to be able to do the things that we're talking about and have the maximum impact through proper branding or through proper marketing. Like, we call it organic marketing. Well, organic marketing is not anywhere near paid marketing. But if you don't have money, you start with that. But I agree with what you're saying. Once you're now starting to get a stream of income, if you want to scale and you want to get market domination, is the word I use, you've got to go through this process, because how could you ever grow to the level of Apple? I mean, Apple spends how many millions of dollars on their branding? I mean, it's unbelievable of what they've done. Nike's logo, like, I forget what
it was over $1 million.
Over $1 million just on their logo.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, it's something, that little swoosh is a expensive swoosh,
Yeah.
but I mean, they're known all over the world. So you need to come to the place where sometimes when you got to start, you have to start with what you have. But I think making that investment, I would, even if you have to leverage something, it's a good leverage. That we talk about bad debt and good debt. But as a company, if you're willing to even take out and go on a payment plan or take, borrow to do it properly, you're going to have better results. You're going to have a better ROI. If you can't do that, just start with what you have.
Yeah.
If you can't run a shop, start with a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Right.
But you don't want to stay there as a lemonade stand. You want to move and you want to scale. So when you're able to make the investment and do a proper branding, go through a proper process, and we do that all the time with companies.
Yeah.
And they're addicted to some logo that is like, from the 1980s, 70s, and it's like, technology has changed. What we can do, the design, 3D and all of the stuff that's gone up, we can do a much higher level of creative now work through what we're doing. So you've got to be on the cutting edge of that, because again, that you're going to lose the attention span. You're not going to communicate. It's not going to be clear. Your messaging is not there. You might have some results, but what could you do?
Yeah.
If you did things properly, it's going to help you to scale to a whole nother level. And do you want to scale, or are you just happy being where you're at? And a lot of businesses are stuck.
Yeah.
And so
many.
that investment into branding, into brand identity, is going to help you to come to the next level. And we do this all the time with our clients.
We really do. And I think it's so important, especially those listening. If you do have an idea and you do have a vision, I definitely always tell people, start with what you have. Take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
But we have a great resource for you. We have the business and marketing health assessment that you can take, which is really easy to see where you are and have a health check. And then get around people also when you finally start to make that money that can help you scale and grow and have your messaging clear. Because there's nothing worse than having something that's a great product, a great service, but you're not getting it out there. Please don't be that person 20 years from now that you're just dreaming of, oh, I had this great idea. Oh, this is what I'm going to do. Oh, what have you done with it? You don't want to, you don't want that at all. So you do need to get around other people. And they say, what's that? I'm into basketball. So there's a 100, you miss 100 of the shots that you don't take.
And I think you also are saving time.
Yeah.
You can still get there organically, but it's going to take you
a lot more time.
It's going to take you a lot of years.
And our time is valuable.
But if you do things properly, you learn it. You can scale very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first part of, so in your branding and positioning and messaging, your first part is brand identity, value proposition. So what is your unique value proposition that you're bringing to the market? You cannot just bring the same value proposition as the next company that's been doing it for 20 years because they're going to win because they've built a brand, okay? So yes, you have to have a brand, but what is the unique value proposition of your company? When you're serving someone with a product, don't just think about physically what the product does. I think every business owner is obsessed with their solution.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with how does their software work, or, what does their product physically do? Okay, that's great. It's the results, it's the feeling, it's the emotional connection that people have, the result that people really care about. That's the value proposition. So when you're creating your content, when you're creating this stage of the ecosystem, this unique value proposition has to kind of really be nailed down. Do you want to add anyone on here?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to even jump into the fact because I think it also goes into the point 2 of the ecosystem of really lead capturing and nurturing. We really need to make sure that we're grabbing people's attention and engaging them while we're doing this. There's nothing worse than getting traffic to your website, having people engage in your social media, and you don't say one thing to them. Like, have you ever seen it? Those posts that say, "Oh, if you only got 100 likes." You know, oh, that's a bummer. But then there's a picture of 100 people. Oh, if you only got 10,000 views, but then there's a picture of 10,000 people. Imagine not saying anything to them when they come your way. Right. So we really need to follow up with them. We need to nurture them. And it goes back into how we're building that you talked about in the ecosystem, and really making sure that when we're talking to people, that when they're talking to us, we're talking back to them.
Yeah. So I think, like, when we think of a value proposition, right, I think probably one of the most incredible accomplishments in branding and marketing is the fact that people prefer different water. I think it's one of the most interesting things because it's technically all water, right? But people prefer it's not the same.
It's not the same. I think the same
people who like Evian and they like whatever their preference is, right? This is literally a value proposition.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's one of the main waters? I'm forgetting now.
Perrier.
Perrier, yeah. So there's one of them that's like a spring water. And the whole idea is about mountain springs. So it's painting this brand idea of what would that mean? That it's been recycled naturally. It's got a natural feel to it, right? It's come from a mountain. So it's a place of maybe it's pure or something. So it's bringing this unique value proposition into people's thinking. And then what people start thinking, they start tasting. Right, so this has been proved. So this is, it's been proved with different drugs. It's
the placebo effect.
Placebo effect. Okay, it's one of my favorite effects in marketing. It's what people believe. You can work with that. So drugs, pills that are pain pills that are red, versus can have the exact same chemical in a blue pill, and they will believe the red is stronger, and because they believe it. It actually is stronger.
It's the psychology of branding. That's why
psychology.
Tylenol comes in a red package.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? The people take those calming pills. Ones that are blue actually are more strong than the ones that are...
I saw that in Matrix. Yeah, take the
red and the blue. It's not the Matrix, Derek. So, but it's the same thing. So that is building a unique value proposition in someone's mind. So why is your product better than another's? Why is it more trustworthy? Is it more reliable? Has it been around longer? What is the unique value proposition that you're bringing to the table? If you don't clearly define that, people will just judge you based on what they think it is. So if you don't tell them we've been around for this many years, or this is our unique value proposition, they will see you and come up with an idea, and it will be based on how you are visually. Right, so they'll just look at your visuals and they'll say, okay, it's okay, and that's all it is. I'll move on to the next company, right? So you have to really develop that, fine-tune that. Anyone want to add before
I don't know why I
keep
thinking of this, but I use like this with my toddler. And it's so funny. I immediately thought of like Goldfish and cheese crackers because there's two different brands out there. There's Goldfish, which I'm sure you're all familiar, the little fish, that's like a cheese cracker. But then there's the Annies, which are the little cheese bunnies. And so how they really made sure that they're, I know, toddler talk.
This is definitely a mother talking.
It's been a while.
Basically what they did is they split the market to where the ingredients is different, but they made sure that came across. So if you're having the same cheese cracker, the Annie's little bunny is a lot cleaner ingredients. And what's funny is people pay for it because they put it out there that, hey, this is how I'm different. This is what I'm doing. Wow. And it works. I pay a premium for cheese crackers because of this.
That is
but
hilarious.
It could be a placebo.
Eating the bunnies?
I know.
Oh my God.
It's just a little shape. But this is what you're talking about. How are we communicating that, in our marketing? How are we putting out the red pill versus the blue pill?
And again, it's your messaging. Who are you trying to reach? What's resonating? You're reaching parents. What's resonating? I want healthy snacks. We're hearing all this stuff with, in healthcare, and like we're the fattest country, the unhealthiest country here in America, and what's all the preservatives and stuff. And, us growing up, we didn't know anything. It was like, oh, everything's microwave. This is amazing. But we didn't know what they put in it to allow you to do that. And now we're facing the consequences. But as a mom, what do you want? I want my kid to be healthy. I don't want them to be obese.
Give me the bunnies.
I don't want them to, have cancer and all these kind of things.
Right.
So I'll pay because it's healthy. but when you look, is it really healthy or they just have good messaging?
Right. Exactly.
I look at the ingredients.
Value proposition.
It is. So,
there is value in it.
But again, what's that proposition? I think, you need to, again, it goes back to who's your ideal client, what's important to them, and what's your messaging. Apple, when I think of Apple, what is it? We work so you don't have to. And making work easy, making you contactable, all of those kind of things that are there that appeal to a certain type of person. And so that's where it's very important to fine tune that. So you're not just, you can have the best product ever. But your messaging's there. And we've used this example before. When you're driving on the highway and you want a cup of coffee, what do I usually do? I look for the green logo, and they may not be the best coffee, but you're going to get a certain standard. The customer service, it's a reputable company, but you could have some, pokey donk.
The value proposition is consistency across all Starbucks.
And friendliness. And, you look at In-N-Out. I mean, they don't have a big menu.
No.
But what do? You get the same burger, it's either a double or it's a single, and their fries are fresh, and that's all they do. They don't do chicken.
No.
They don't do anything else. They do that, but you see, what you're going to get. But you could have a burger joint next door to them that makes the better quality meat, phenomenal burger, but their logo's a rinky-dink logo. The signs, bulb is out. The place doesn't look clean. You're going to drive by that every time and sit in line and In-N-Out because of the branding and the messaging.
Yeah, people have options nowadays. There's more good products in the same field than ever.
This is true.
So you cannot just rely on a good product anymore.
And people want that originality because, I mean, even with social media, you look online, I have a friend and he bought this blanket this time and went online and they had this cashmere blanket. It was so nice. I bought it for a gift.
I know this story.
Found out it was from overseas somewhere. When they got it, it was this little package.
Oh,
the blanket was not what it looked. It was all like not cashmere. It was falling apart kind of thing, but they had a good ad.
Wow.
But people are wary too at this point in time because you can say anything on social media. There's no accountability.
That's so true.
But is there a reputation that's there? So your reviews, your customer reviews, that whole ecosystem is important. But it goes back to your brand proposition. If you don't deliver what you're proposing, that's gonna you're shooting yourself in the foot because people are gonna comment. They'll be on Yelp. There's so many places here, and it's gonna work against you. So it's not over projecting, but projecting value. Messaging that's going to communicate, resonate with your ideal client. And that gives you the differentiation. That really is what brings your brand identity. It's not just your colors, logo, but you stand out and you know what you're getting because you know what that brand represents.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we move on?
Let's move on. We're going to go so deep here. We ain't going to come out of this. So the first stage, which we've talked about is brand positioning and messaging. So if you've got issues in that stage, deal with those things. All the things that we talked about, your brand identity, your logo, your value proposition, and then how you differentiate it. So nail those things. All right. Next thing, content and thought leadership. So creating content that is going to build authority and attract leads. So recent study shows that in order for someone to trust you nowadays, so trust your business, we're not just talking about maybe you sell a pen here. We're talking about a high-level product or whatever it is. There has to be 11 different interactions with this person and roughly 4 hours of content totally consumed with that person in order for you to make a high-level decision or a high-level purchase. So how do you do that? So what we're seeing now is a major shift, even in massive companies, to CEO-driven brands. Okay, so they're doing this for a very specific reason. They want someone to be the thought leader. They want someone to be the main person that is able to speak consistently, people relate to, know, and trust, and that it's going to help them to bring conversion in their business. You see it even with Meta now. They just did a whole campaign for Mr. Zuckerberg to make him socially popular. I'm not going to go into that, but that was very specifically done. Okay, Musk. He's always out there in the forefront. People trust Tesla, these companies, because of Musk, because of what he stands for. He's a thought leader.
Yeah.
So in your business, depending on what you do, you need to develop thought leadership. Derek, you're a thought leader. Why don't you
Yeah, I
in
think,
there.
it used to be an old model. You want to transact with someone first, and it's all about sales is transacting. But I think, when we talk about adding value, what are you doing? If you want to be the expert, you've got to become the expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people have to trust you. The expert is not just because you have a title, but what do we need to do? Put content out there, which we're saying that's free. Like for what we're doing right now, this is on YouTube. I think we're live right now.
Yep.
This is free. I mean, our time is valuable. I get paid, lots of money for an hour of my time, but we're doing this to add value. Why? We're passionate about it. We ultimately want to help people.
Yeah.
But we're doing this, and it's free. And, this would be a coaching call with some people. And, of course, we go a lot deeper, and they pay $10,000 for it, And so, but you're adding value. Why? Because people are going to trust you. They're going to see that. And then what? If they're interested after hearing you and like, wow, Lace really knows what she's talking about. Samuel, wow, he really, is creative and has this, this way of thinking strategically. They're going to transact with you because they've trusted you.
Right.
And so you see people doing that. Nowadays, people aren't just selling books.
Yeah.
But they give the books away free.
Yeah, it's true.
And so you transact with them. You go on their website. They give you the free book. And I do this all the time. Sometimes I'm just looking at their ecosystem, and I'll go on stuff and put my information there because I want to see their funnel and how they work. But I've got free books, and you read the book and like, wow, this is really good. This person has something to say. And so I think, that's the paradigm shift. Let's add as much value, and then we can transact with someone at a higher level,
Right.
Because there's trust there. They know that we're going to bring something to the table where people aren't just going to go on a website now, click with someone they didn't know, and buy a package. And so we do coaching, too, and I have high ticket coaching programs that we do, and we do a year coaching, 6-month coaching, and different things like that. And little pitch there. Stay tuned. We're focusing right now, but we're gonna relaunch that in the next few months. And come back into that. But no one's gonna transact with you just because you had a funnel and like who's Lace, who's Derek, who's this person.
Yeah.
But if you have content on YouTube, you have content on your social media, you're giving away free value. We do a free training, and already on this course, we've given away 2 things free today. Why? It's adding value to people and not thinking you're going to lose out. Well, if it's free, no one's going to transact. That's an old school paradigm.
No.
Yeah.
Now, the more value you add, the more they're going to want to connect with you because you've added value, and now you created a tribe and a following.
Okay. I was just going to say that I think that it's so important with this in capturing their attention and giving them that value that you're talking about. Because it's so important to know that there is, so how I think about it is kind of like when you go to the doctor, there's a certain level of like, I'm going to trust what this doctor says because there has a lot of value. But sometimes with a business owner, they may not know exactly what your credentials are. So giving them that short form content, putting it out there, even the long term content that you use YouTube, use what's available, use LinkedIn, also like blog posts, all of those things. And don't just entertain people. Really give them educational.
Just write that down, people.
Educational resources that will help them where they can practically apply them to their business. Because, what do? You go to the movies just to be entertained.
Yeah.
Like, have these things set to where people can come to you and be educated and help them out, solve the problems for them. Because you're going to make money if you do that.
You are. And you don't give all your secret sauce away.
No, yeah.
There's things, structures, and plan. We're not giving you a whole framework that we sell for tens of thousands of dollars. But we can give we can give value to people to where they're willing to transact at that level. Or, it's basically, I say this, sales is serving. And so serving people at a level, but you can serve them for free first. And so in doing that, you go to these places. We all love Costco.
I was just thinking of Costco.
And what do? You go there,
funny.
you can have lunch at Costco. You got to check in with your card now because people were doing that during the downtime. But
so crazy.
You go in there and all these free tasters.
Yes.
And what happens? Then in the end, you end up buying something. How many times have you done that? Because they offered free. But because you got that free sample and you snuck back or sent your kid to get a second one, you end up buying it.
Derek's calling you out, moms.
I've done it too because you serve them for free. And what happened? Now they transact. They might have bought 2 because, oh man, this is amazing. But they may have never bought your product.
Yeah.
They may have never not transact with you because they didn't have anything. And free is great because I can transact it with nothing risk. And we call something in sales commission breath. And I think the old model of we're always trying to hard sell, that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
People, they're very standoffish, wary of that. And so as salespeople, I tell them, don't present yourself just as a salesperson. Present yourself as a consultant, which is what? You're adding value.
Yeah.
Whatever industry you're in, you're adding value to people free as a consultant. They're going to want to do business with you because you already added value to them for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's lots of different ways thought leadership can be done, right? And so you can do it something like this, like a YouTube video, right? That's one level. The main thing you want to think about when you're developing this content is it valuable?
Yeah, very important.
Do not get on somewhere and just ramble nonsense. To be honest, I don't want to see my doctor dancing.
Yeah.
You know? I just want to know.
Where did that come from?
Because
dancing.
on social media, you see a lot of these guys following trends. And, you know, to be honest, I don't need that. I just need to know he's a good doctor, right? I need to know he knows what he's doing.
Sure, yeah.
He's trustworthy, okay? So thought leadership is a few different ways. You can do it something long video content, short video content like what you just talked about. You can do it from books, like what Derek was just saying, or you can do it in articles. You can get on different magazines talking about whatever it is, getting on different people's podcasts. It's literally just designed for people to literally feel like they've sat with you and that they now know you. And so we'll have people who, I saw someone the other day, and they're like, oh, you're from Brand Savvy Podcast. And they were like a little starstruck with me. And but I realized something. I'm like, wow, because they feel like they've spent time with me.
Yeah.
Even though I've never met this person, they felt like they've spent 20 or 30 minutes with me, getting to know me, knowing how I think, what I understand. And then they started mentioning Derek and was wanting to talk to Derek for a thing here. I'm like, you go talk to Derek. But it's that trust. And so that they feel like they've been with you. That's what you're wanting.
And even our existing clients, you know, they may transact with you at a certain level, but like you said, they may be doing brand strategy with Lace, but then they watch the show and they're like, hey, I need some business coaching. And then, you know, they come to me or like, oh, wow, you know, I heard Samuel talk about creative. And so, like, can we get in touch and do so? What are you doing? Again, the ecosystem, they're immersed in your system. Because you keep adding value and maybe you're upselling them to something down the road, which they never would have bought if you hadn't done that.
Yeah, I think it's all relationship based too.
It is,
and really bringing, you know, helpfulness to them. We talked about the value, making sure they know that, hey, we're here to help you. So you don't have to, again, spend countless, you know, years or countless money doing the wrong thing. So I think that's so important to bring them back to it and really nurture them in doing that. Because really, there's so many people that we've come across that they'll do one thing with us, but they want to continue working with us because they see, you know, we're really here to help them succeed.
We call it next steps.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the next step?
Precisely.
And there's always another step.
Yeah.
So people really judge you if they know, like, and trust you. So they must first of all know you. So, of course, we talked about that brand identity, knowing who you are. Like you. They must be able, why is Joe Rogan the most successful podcast in the world? I personally think it's because people like Joe. They like
he's
what
authentic.
he's very authentic. He's very straight to the point.
Not overly polished.
He's not overly polished. He's a really nice guy.
And we don't even know him.
Yeah, we don't know him, right? But from what we see, what we interact with, we like Joe, okay? And then trust. We trust that he's gonna cut through all of the rubbish that the facade, and he's gonna ask exactly what people really want to know. Is it really real? Right? So it's gotta be the same with you. Do they know your business? Do they like you? And do they trust you? Do they trust that you are an expert in whatever it is that you're doing? Do they trust that you can solve their problem? Do they trust that your value proposition is better than everybody else's, and because they like you, they're going to go with you?
For those just tuning in, we're talking about creating a marketing ecosystem and how you can we talked about brand positioning and messaging, content and thought leadership, 5 keys of that ecosystem. Let's jump into lead capturing and nurturing, which is huge.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You want to take it away, Samuel? This is your design.
Oh, I like this stuff. So, okay, lead capturing. So I think probably the most heartbreaking thing I see is when someone shows me a website. It's normally their website, and they're super proud of it, but there's no real way to engage with the person on the website. There's maybe a call button, call now, but as we talked about before, just because I've seen you once doesn't mean I trust you and want to jump on a call with you.
Right.
I may want to know a little bit more. So you have to develop lead magnets. Everybody say it. Lead magnets. Okay, go and research what are lead magnets. Lead magnets are high value engagements that are not super close to you. So for example, I think the Brand Builders training video, this is a lead magnet. It's a way that you can get trained from an expert with Lace in an area that you need, which is your branding, and add value to you. There's no high commitment. All it requires is your information, just your name, phone, and email. Okay, it's a very low commitment, an informational commitment. This first step of having a lead magnet is probably part of the reason most businesses are not succeeding in 2025. Their lead magnets are outdated. There's maybe no lead magnet on their website or whatever their engagement is, or it's way too high of an ask. So it's like a call me. That's way too high of an ask when people are just getting to know you.
You need to date first.
Yeah, you need to date first. You need to create something that engages them in a very low value way, and then the experience after that is nurturing that person. So after they have a training video, right? So they get sent Lace's training video. Lace will send you something else that's also valuable that you didn't even ask for, right? Maybe it's another video or it's an article or something like that. You're nurturing the relationship. You're causing people to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
So that area is missing in a lot of businesses, and they wonder why sales aren't growing. Part of the reason is the nurturing process is just not there. Maybe you do have a lead magnet. You got all these leads in your inbox, but they go cold after that first engagement. They signed up to watch your video, but then you never engage with them afterwards. So you got to think it's that 7, 4, 11, 11 interactions. 7 different high-level engagements. So this would be your lead magnet. So you send them one thing, but then you need to keep engaging with them 7 times, and they need 4 hours of thought leadership with you. So it's not just one of these things. Don't have fragmented marketing this year, guys. It will kill your business if you just have one of these things and not the rest. This is part of the reason your business isn't working.
Yeah, and I think we need to move beyond just the idea of lead capturing. And we said nurturing.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? You're nurturing. What do? You know, when you have a kid, you nurture that kid, you feed that kid, you take care of that kid, you help the kid to be healthy, and then you put the kid to work. You give them chores. You give, you know. And so the same thing is true with our audience. We want to add value, nurture them, come into that place, and then give them opportunities after we've added value to them if they want to take things to the next level. And if they don't, that's okay. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that. And I think that's a very different posture that you need to have in 2025. You look at some people's social media accounts, you look at their everything, their portfolio that's out there. It's all about transact with me now, buy now, sell, do this, do this, do this. People look at that. It's a turnoff to them.
No one wants that.
And so you need to strategically mix those opportunities, because how can we add higher value? Through free stuff, we're going to add a level of value. But really, as you transact with us, that's where we're going to have a higher level of value. And that's why there's a premium placed on that time and that product, that service, because of the value it's going to bring. And people don't mind paying that. But again, you've got to mix the nurturing in, and it's got to be, I would say, 70% nurturing, 30%
100%.
the opportunities to work with you. Well, I think it's a great time right now, Lace. Tell us about your Brand Builders training video and how we can add value through that.
Yes, so it's available on here, just down below in the description. So be sure to check that out. But really, it's about paying attention to people, is what you're talking about, nurturing the relationship. And sometimes, we have people that aren't ready right now.
Yes.
And it could be for many different reasons. I've had calls of people that they're on their way out the door. So they're not ready right now in this moment, but they're like, hey, call me back Friday, and it's only Wednesday. Or maybe they're about to leave for vacation. So we also need to listen to where are these people at? Maybe it's the cash flow of where they are, that, hey, I want to work with you, but I don't have that much coming in right now. And so making sure that we're retargeting them as well and paying attention to them in that. And using our email list. I mean, one of the greatest ways to capture people is also through that email list and building 100%. It up and sending them stuff. So not just the free stuff, but checking in on them. I can't tell you how many times that my insurance guy sends me birthday
yeah.
cards, birthday
He
emails.
does?
Yes.
That's great.
He sent me a cake one year. I was like, who's this from? It's from Gary.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Gary, for State Farm. You know, but he's constantly building this relationship.
Yep.
And when I'm in need, and we got a
awesome.
new vehicle last
Yep.
year, I'm like, oh, I need to call up Gary. He's there and he's
Wow.
available for me, but he's nurtured that relationship. So we need to make sure that we're doing that constantly.
Yeah, and then that you develop the trust. And
Yeah.
the brand's all about the trust. When they need a service, they need to transact with you. They're going to be thinking about you because
Who do they trust?
Yeah.
because you've been there for them.
That's
you
right.
added value to them. And then, you know, that sales, that no, the first 10 no's goes down because they've already said yes to you giving them free content and
Yeah.
adding value to them. So why would I not take it to the next level?
Yeah.
Exactly. So lots of different ways you can do lead magnets, and I think we're going to go into more of the hows in just a minute here. But everything from books is a lead magnet. Derek said, I saw the book. This guy sent him this book. He's a phenomenal marketer, strategist guy, and he wrote a book, sent it Derek for free. And then I see it when I was at Derek's house, see it on the counter. I'm like, who's this book? And he told me he gets it for free. So you see the effect that this has when you give something free. It's at his house. I come and visit him, and then I start getting impacted, pick up the book and start reading it. So you need to start thinking like that. How do you create high value engagement pieces that can cause people to not just receive it, but be impacted by it? So give action things they can do in there. Try and cause them to make changes. That if you can get them to make a small change now and it works and it was free, they're like, what could this person do if I paid them to do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're already thinking that. So you need to start creating these different things. So on your website, optimize it for conversions, not just to be a dictionary of stuff you do.
Not just informational.
It's not just informational. To be honest, people are really busy and they don't really care enough to spend 8 hours going through your website that has everything you do. They don't really want that, okay? Unless they are super analytical and that's just their personality, right? Most people are spending less than 8 seconds on a website.
Yeah.
Okay? So in less than 8 seconds, you have to show this person that you've got something very high value that can help their life and can cause them to come to another level. So lead magnets, implement them on your website.
Yeah, and just add to that. And you may have someone who is not ready to transact with you, but because you added value, we mentioned about the book.
Yeah.
Oh, who's this guy? I'm going to go check them out. I just picked up another follower.
Yeah.
Or this was a great video. They hit the share button.
Yeah.
And then shared it with someone else who shared it with someone else. You're building this whole following organically because of adding value. And people are always looking for value, and we love it when it's free.
Yeah.
So you're leading us into kind of that fourth stage of community and engagement. So let's talk about how do you really build a community? How do you really build kind of engagement? So I think communities are designed to create trust, right? They're designed to strengthen trust. You may see someone, you may watch a video, but when you go into maybe a private group with someone, or maybe you have a group call, a coaching group session, and you have that group engagement, there's a community that's built there. Maybe, Derek, you want to talk about that? What does that really do for people?
I just was thinking, in coaching, we talk about this principle that immersion is conversion.
Yes.
Immersion is conversion. The more immersed people are in your brand and with your content on your website, with a tool that you're giving them, the more immersed they are, you're going to convert them into a transaction. You're going to convert them into a client.
Right.
Again, because we talk about the trust that. So how can we create this ecosystem to immerse people at different levels through different things? Some people like to read, so we have an ebook.
Yeah.
Not everyone's an analytical. They're not want to read. They want the short 45-second, 1 minute video. They want the 1 hour training.
Right.
And so how can we do that? They want to, have the short reel where they're just getting nuggets. And so we create all these different things to cater to different types of people to immerse them with us. And then what are they going to do? They're going to eventually come in and there's going to be conversion.
I always think of it like, think about going to the gym. Like, don't miss leg day. You want to focus on working on all parts of the body all together. And you said people receive information different. Some people have an hour to spare, to carve out that time to receive that value. But some people need it in 3 short minutes. Yep. And so really, what can we bring to them all together? And I think really customers don't just buy products. Yeah. That's not what they're doing today. They really want to have shared values. And that's how you can build that community. So when you showcase, hey, this is what we stand for. These are our values. You know, we believe in integrity. We believe in doing the right thing, offering that value. You know, when you put that out there, people will see those and identify with that, and they'll want to come along as well. You know what's so amazing? You guys probably don't know this, but there's this new makeup company that came up, Glossier, and I think I'm saying it right. But they were all about building the brand community. Now, the makeup space is so saturated. There's so many different celebrities doing lines,
right,
you know, that are out there. A lot of the makeup companies have branches of them underneath them. You know, they own all like 3 different companies in one. But what they did is they went direct to consumers. So right to the people, and they let them become the advocates, and it blew up the brand. And now they're in the same space as someone out there that is doing, you know, Revlon, Maybelline, you know, CoverGirl, same space. And this is a new business in the last couple of years. But because they built the share values, they built the community, people are going on social media and talking about them because they like them so much.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just
so much in there.
I know.
Just like, just overloading my brain
the
here.
The mechanics are turning.
Yeah, the mechanics here. The cogs, not the clogs. Yeah. So not everybody is ready to get really personal with someone. They're not always ready to jump on a phone, but will they jump on a group session with you? Will they go jump on a group Zoom?
A free webinar.
A free webinar. Yes, most of the time, because the pressure's a lot less. It's not just about them.
Yeah.
And then again, it's that ability when you reinforce something one-on-one. So for example, you guys are watching here at home. You're probably watching with yourself or with your family, okay? Or maybe you're at work. When you watch something with a group of people and they all receive value and they're all growing together, it does something in your brain where they're like, if they're receiving value, he's receiving value, I'm receiving value, this person's really good.
Yeah.
So it's a reinforcing behavior. So it's the same thing. You want to design these group community engagement places. You can do it lots of different ways. Everything from WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, private masterminds, whatever you really want to do, creating these group sessions. It looks very different in different companies.
That's true.
Porsche, they have this experience actually. And so not everyone, I was listening to this guy and he's like, I never really thought I'd buy a Porsche.
Yeah, I heard this.
And so he's like, I never really even liked Porsches. He's like, but Porsche had a one-day experience.
Yeah.
And so there's like a whole group of you that go and you all go racing together. So this guy went and he gets in this Porsche, really nice Porsche, and drives around and has this racing experience, okay? And so he loves it. He drives the car and he's like, man, I think I want to buy a Porsche one day. It's like, I think that's something I want to do. This guy had, and this engagement was, you know, maybe a couple of $100 to do this thing. It's a very low ticket engagement.
Yeah.
Compared to buying a Porsche.
Yeah, $120,000.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
$100,
it's a very different kind of experience here. But you've given them, for one, there's a group of people doing it that day. It's not just you. They're all having this experience.
Boys' day.
Yeah, a boys' day. You get exposed to the product, exposed to an experience. And this guy who, and he has the money to buy the Porsche, he said he would never have bought a Porsche, has this experience, completely changes his whole thinking and mindset. Because he experienced the product and he did it in a group setting.
Immersion
and now he wants to buy.
Yeah.
Immersion is conversion, you know, and that's immersion. You got into the car, you got around it, you got around the sport thing, and a Porsche is a beautiful car. You might not like the body style, but when you get in it and the way it drives, I mean, it's a great car.
Yeah,
well made, fast, you know, and that's what guys like. And so, you know, as you're talking, I think we talk about building trust in this ecosystem, in this community and engagement, but there's the power, what I call the domino effect, which is really the power of the share.
Right.
Because if you're getting value, and that's right, hit that share button right now. If you're getting some value today, share this with somebody. Why? Because it's going to help us in the algorithm. It's going to help us to bring more valuable content to you. But if you're getting value, share with someone else. And if you're a good friend, that's what you do.
Right.
We're always looking for resources and things, and we always share stuff among even our own team.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, did you see this? Check this out, all of that. But now you shared it with me. I shared it with Samuel. Samuel shared it with someone else, a designer. And it's that domino effect of the power of the share, which is invaluable. So you investing in producing that free content, that's valuable in the sense of what we call referrals.
Yeah.
you're going to get referrals, and that's the number one best asset in a business is referrals. Because if you trust me as a friend, and I tell you, hey, this place has the best haircuts in town. What are you going to do? You're going to try it out. This place does the best nails, and they're creative. All the women are going to go there. You know, this gym is the best. It doesn't stink, and you know they're clean and and professional. You're going to check it out. And so that's about a restaurant, whatever it is, a serve. And so that's what we do. And you look at even in that infrastructure, the most powerful thing is testimonials.
Yeah, so you can actually use group community engagements as a lead magnet.
Yeah.
So I know a guy, he's how he brings in, and he's doing, I mean, like one client's like, 150, maybe 250 grand for him. Could be up to $1 million in his business. And how he gets these clients is he'll put on a really fancy dinner. So he'll buy out like part of a restaurant with this big table, and he will invite high key players in a company. Just target them through LinkedIn, reach out like, hey, Lace, I'm putting on this dinner. There's going to be this person, and we're going to talk about this. I've actually paid for your ticket already. We're going to be at X, Y, and Z restaurant. Do you want to come? Lace gets a really nice dinner and gets to engage with people who are doing really well, and then engages there. And so this is really how he gets. So he'll have these experiences, fill up the whole event, pay for these people, and then his only call to action after that, which he'll ask them, is, hey, could we go for a coffee afterwards? And he'll do it just in person at that day. Hey, can we set up a time we can maybe connect offline, go for a coffee? And from that, he's converting people to these high-level deals because it's a community engagement. He shows he built huge authority in, every person there because they saw, wow, this person's here and this person's here. X, Y, and Z is here. Yeah, it's a power play. And so he's built this trust because of that. Now he's causing community engagement, and then it leads to sales. Another example was in Dubai. And so different real estate agents were struggling to sell these kind of higher level apartments and different things like this. So this agent had this idea: what happens if rather than doing like a one-on-one sale, he does an introduction to Dubai real estate? And so he hosts this once a month. It's like a group meeting, basically, where all people who are interested in Dubai real estate come down, and he does like a 1 or 2 hour talk on all of the different things in Dubai, all the different things in the real estate area there. And from that, community engagement, building authority, building trust, he gets most of his business, basically. And then he'll do group sales. So he'll sell multiple homes at one time to these group people. So the whole thinking is really different. Did you want to add? I know you've done the group stuff too.
Yeah, I think, we can go on and on in this, but it's basically creating the trust.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Many, many ways to do it, through groups, through the referrals, transacting, giving that content to people. But it's a mind shift. It's a mind shift that we need to have, because a lot of people, it's not going to affect your ROI in the beginning because you're doing it for free.
Right.
But as you keep doing it, you're going to get a return.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
that. And so when we talk about components of a strong market ecosystem, we talk about brand positioning, messaging, content, and thought leadership, lead capturing, nurturing, community engagement, and then finally the last one. Let's go delve into conversion and sales strategy. So we talked about a lot of the things you can do, but what are the tools? And Samuel, jump into this one because I know this is your passion.
He loves this part.
What are the things that we can do and the tools that are available to create this ecosystem?
Okay, so conversions and a sales process. So lots of different ways that you can do it. You have to design it for your specific business.
Yeah, that's right.
If, say, we were taking what would be a business like maybe Orange Theory. Okay, Derek just joined Orange Theory. If we look at
giving a pre-plug for you. I didn't say the name, but
pre-plug. Well, because I ended up coming because of Derek. So
influence. I ended up recruiting 8 people.
I know. Look at this. He got the right person. So how their conversion process works, I think it was a really a great experience. So one of Derek's family members got hit with an ad. Okay, they then got retargeted with other Orange Theory content. Okay. Then they were given a free class, okay? So a free lead magnet, basically. And that lead magnet was designed for them to come and then have an experience. So this person had an experience, and then they sell them. It's an in-person sale, okay? So you can see there you've got ads or free content. Okay, it's part of the sale. Then you've got a lead magnet, a free thing there, and then you've got a sales person, okay, or a consultant, whatever way we want to kind of call this. It's a person that closes the deal. So in order to do that online, you have to optimize your sales funnel. Okay, how do you do that? You have to design it to get them to a person. Okay, even Google, who is one of the biggest companies in the world, has not been able to get rid of salespeople because it's still the best way to close a deal. Okay, you need to put a person in there that they can talk to.
People want a human.
Yeah,
they want a human. They want to talk to somebody. They want to make sure that they can, let go of all their stress and make sure, is it going to be okay? Is this going to work? And yada yada. All the questions you have to get them to that process. So in order to do that, optimizing the funnel is going to be not just the lead magnet, but a follow-up system. So you can build different automations that retarget them to get on a singular call or a group call. Okay, so getting them on one of these different calls, and then the sales process. So I'll turn it over to Derek here for this. Sales process cannot be your presentation pitch. Okay, it cannot be you just sit down here with your 10 slides about, why your product is the best product. To be honest, they don't really care. They're slightly interested. You need to understand that. You have to mirror them and bring them through a conversion process. So beyond just a funnel, it's the process of sales.
Yeah, and I think the old school way of sales is like, okay, whether you're doing real estate and you go in, you're pitching your company, how great your company is. But today, people know about your company. For the person to get on your website, they know what Orange Theory is about. They've heard the testimony. You don't need to go and promote the company. They're already in.
Yeah.
But the best thing is ask questions.
That's
so
it.
In the sales call,
touch on that. So
write that down.
Ask questions. So I always tell people, find out the motivation. So Lace, you're on our website. We noticed, and my wife, you were sharing that example. She actually went on the website, and to book the free class, you had to give a credit card.
Oh, wow.
Because they only want serious people.
That's good.
And
really
so
good.
If you don't
qualify them.
Qualifying the lead. If you don't book, there's like a $25 cancellation fee. If you don't show up for the free class, you can cancel within 8 hours. But if not, you have to pay. So my wife didn't have her credit card. So she put her information. When she got to that thing, she actually closed the store.
Oh yeah, you said this.
Oh wow.
And but they had, you have those things for people who drop out of the cart.
Yeah.
And so Orange Theory sales staff got a notification, called her and said, "Hey, we noticed that you were interested in booking a class, but you didn't finish. I just wanted to call you and find out, are you still interested?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I didn't know I have to pay." And so she explained the process, because that was a bit of a, my wife's a businesswoman. I don't want to pay. And
put your credit card
they're
somewhere.
They're going to charge my card. And, she's like, "Oh, no. This is just because we want to make serious, and we have limited slots. So we don't want to give those away if someone's not serious."
Yeah.
And so my wife's like, "Okay, great." So she ended up booking her in because she knew she was serious, took her credit card over the phone. My wife was able to find it and got her in. And then my daughter went in. Now I'm in. Now 8 people have come in. You see what I'm saying?
I might need to check this out.
That's the salesperson. But asking, so why, when I coach people and you're offering a service, well, why do you want this service? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
Well, I want to be healthier. I want to lose weight. That's phenomenal. You're in the right place. You're reaffirming their motivation and telling them how you can help them to get there. If you're dealing with people that, in real estate, well, why do you want to move? Where do you want to move? Why? If you're looking at a service, you're interested in this Porsche, why do you like Porsche? Well, I didn't really want to buy it, but I drove it. Oh man, the drive, and you start reinforcing their experience they had when they were behind the wheel, and you want to have that in, hey, boys, we all have toys. They just get more expensive, right? Ha ha. What are you doing? You're reinforcing the motivation. So you're actually helping them to make an educated decision. And so sales has changed because there's so much information out there. You don't have to do the old school of trying to oversell yourself. And it's a turnoff to people.
It is.
And, most of the sales calls I have with people are very short because I'm very good at getting to their motivation. And I have all my presentation ready for the analyticals. But most people don't want to do that. They already have researched you to get on a call. We talk about that trust. What's the motivation? How can you deliver it? How much is it going to cost? Show them the value in that, and they transact with you.
Yeah, I think it's so important because for us, we're really a one-stop solution, the go-to brand. And it's asking questions, but also listening to what is their response.
Yes,
there's nothing worse than you. you talking to someone and you're telling them what you want and they're not listening and they're giving you something else. They're going to find it frustrating. They're not going to find the value in it. So you really want to, what is it that they're asking for, and lead them to the right path. And I think that's so important in sales altogether, because we have people who call us and sometimes they don't know what they want. So it's in listening and asking the right questions that we can also help direct them. That way they don't just rush into one thing, spend all this money, and then something like, oh, I want to go straight to a marketing campaign.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, exactly. But then they really needed branding, or like, oh, like, I wanted to do a podcast, but instead we only worked on their website. We really need to listen to what they're saying.
People do that all the time. They're so set on their little thing they have, and they're like, I can sell to this person, and they're so focused on getting this sale, they forget this person like has feelings, and they're not sure, and they don't quite know, and they're not fully decided. They may not want to do it. So if you don't relate to that person, but building internal pressure versus external pressure, this is really important. So you have to, old way of doing sales was external pressure. So it's the cheesy car salesman. You're really pushing for the sale. Don't leave until you sign right now. Like, I want everything done right now. Are you sure you like this car? And it's creating you like feel just like, man,
please no.
I just don't want to even be here. Like, that's the experience that you're creating there. So this is what you don't want to do. Create external pressure. What you want to do is create internal pressure in the person. So it works in their brain of you asking them questions. So when you ask someone a question, if you don't do anything, what's going to happen? And they tell you, well, I think I'm just going to be stuck. They affirm to themselves, if I do nothing, I'm stuck. You don't need to say anything, right?
It's very powerful.
So you have to build that they realize in their brain, I need help. I have told myself I need help. And if I don't do this, what's the result here? And then is this the right decision? And get them to affirm it. So, like for Derek, like, why do you want a Porsche? Do you really want a Porsche? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, maybe it's not the right time for you. You put that pressure of like, shall we end the conversation now? Then they're like, no, I want to know more. So they're creating this internal pressure.
Yeah. And I always say this, I don't want to work with people who don't want to work with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to get a sale and get someone in and they're dragging their feet and they don't show up for the call. They don't want to put in the work. So I always say this, this is not for everyone. But these are for people that XXXX, you're creating the dream. When you go and we always say we live near Disney here in Southern California. Disney, Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. No, it's not.
No.
Crying kids.
It's positioned that way.
The lines are ridiculous. Sometimes 2 hours, the fast passes. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, the experience. You do it for the kids. But they present this whole world. But why? They're selling the vacation. When you sell the vacation, what do? You show people the beach. They're sitting there smiling at their spouse or their girlfriend, whatever. And, there's a little drink with a little umbrella in it. There's the cloud. It's beautiful. You don't show them that they have to pack, get to the airport, stand in line, go through customs, TSA, get on the plane, drive there. Kids are screaming, go through again, drive to the hotel. You don't show all that part.
Nope.
You show them the vacation. And so I think that's the motivation with people. That's the work, and not overselling. If you do, and it's too complicated, it's too much work for people. They're not want to do it. So in our branding packages, our package is how many hours of consultation we do usually, roughly?
So it's 4 sessions and then 4 to 6 hours per session.
So it's literally, at least 16 to 25 hours of thing. But we don't go and say, oh, we're going to spend 25 hours with you. Oh, my gosh, what is this about?
Yeah, too much for people to understand.
But what we do is we tell them, and we cater it to their pace. But we want to ask the questions. Some people, they're more prepared. It goes by faster.
Right.
Other people, we really have to pull out, and we're willing to invest that time with them. But what are we talking about? The benefits of the process, not the work of the process.
Right.
And so, sometimes we get into the details too much. Again, that inward pressure. How can we get you there? If you just talk about the work part, the inward pressure cuts off because nobody wants to, to do all the work. I think, but and it's not that but we're selling it, and then now that the motivation is there, they're willing to put in the work and do it, and it becomes an enjoyable experience. We've never had anyone say, "Oh my God, this was too long of an experience." They're like, "I can't believe this is over. You pulled so much out of me I thought was never there," and we bring them to their goal, and then they're so thankful.
The other thing that I'm sure if any of you guys have some sort of online lead magnet going to a salesperson or a consultant or whoever, show up rates will be an issue if you haven't worked out how to do this. So if you think about why would someone not show up for a call, there's really a few reasons. One, they're wasting time, okay? So you could be targeting the wrong person, all right? So that could be part of it. Two, they don't really think you're an expert. Right? They don't really see the value yet.
They don't trust you.
Yeah,
they don't trust you.
Yet.
So, for example, if I had if the Queen invited me, or the King now invited me to come over to my house, said I'm going to come over to your house at this time, and you should be ready. I would be in my best clothes.
Yep.
I would make sure my hair is done properly.
Have a gift presented and ready.
I would have everything I could to make sure I'm ready because of the value of understanding who this is. So if you're having show-up rate problems, it's probably that. You have not communicated to your target audience who you are, talking to your value. And so you need to do that. So if they're coming in fresh, off like just a first lead magnet, don't immediately ask them to book a call. Reinforce with them other content. Send them an article. Send them a book.
Yeah.
Send them a group coaching thing. Send them a video. Send them stuff so that they watch this and are like, man, these people really know what they're talking about. This is a really high value person. Yeah. Then when they book a call, they're like, I need to be ready. I need to be on time. I need to be there. The other thing is, as a business owner, create scarcity and demand.
Yeah.
Don't be so available. So this is what you need to understand. When a client's coming in the beginning process, they don't want you to be so available. When you get in the actuals, once you've closed them, they want you to be available. Okay? So if you're presenting, I can take calls at 3 a.m. all the way till 2 a.m. and this weird schedule, and like you're just always available, there's no demand for you.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to create demand. Our consultants can only talk for a certain time. We can only take on a certain amount of this. And then we can only take on a certain amount of clients.
That's right, yeah.
For Pure Media, they don't take on loads of clients. They take on a certain amount that they can do and handle and do a really excellent job. And they have more people applying than people that are coming in. You've created demand. That's what you want to do with your business. Okay, you create demand for you, and you create scarcity of your time. So that way, when people are coming on a call, they're like, oh, I can't believe I got a chance to talk with this person. They're giving me high-level insights. Your sales conversion process is going to go up. So that might be another issue that you guys could be facing.
Yeah, I think, it's having that call to action. That call to action could be downloading a video. It could be, giving an email to get something free, or it could be at this place when we've immersed them a bit to get on a phone call.
Right.
And then automating your follow-up system. That's important because it's easy for someone to click the button, but like, did they click the email and put in their calendar? And so you can automate the system. So for us, we have email reminders, we have text reminders, all that. And if they don't reconfirm the appointment within 24 hours, we cancel their appointment because we've got wait lists of people.
Yeah.
And that creates that supply demand. And people, you're not being too difficult, but you're letting them know that it's important. Like if I don't show up for my chiropractor appointment, I have to pay for the appointment.
Yeah.
If you don't show up for the doctor, you have to, you have to cancel. You can't just not show up for stuff.
Yeah.
Why? Because their time is in high demand. And so creating that, and people accept that because it's professional nowadays.
Right.
I went, Valentine's Day, I went to book a reservation and I had to pay a deposit.
Yeah, that's great.
If you don't show up, they charge your credit card because that time slot is in high demand.
Yeah.
And so people are used to that. And if you're bringing value, you're able to do things that is acceptable in the market, and people are going to accept that. So it's important in our sales strategy. We can go on and on.
Yeah,
and on.
I think we've answered all those in your notes there. Should we
let's
jump into the Q&A? We've had some questions. I think it's going to be
okay.
So we've gone through that whole process. So if you're struggling in your ecosystem, if your marketing's not working, if you're having issues with your branding, it's probably one of those things that we've touched on there. Feel free to book a call. You can book a strategic growth call. If that's not something that you want to do immediately and you just want to know a little bit more, I really recommend that business and marketing health assessment. Derek was the one who created that, and it's going to go through exactly where you're healthy and not healthy for your marketing for this year. So if you sleep on that, you're just going to continue to have the issues. So I really recommend getting that done.
And it's free.
And
Yeah,
it's
completely free.
You know what to do, and that way you can start making
Yeah, you
those
can do it on your
changes.
time too.
And I think the most benefit is once you've done that, book a sales call with us. You know, it's with one of our team, or you may even get one of us. We'd love to jump on a call with you and help you more specifically in your business and your industry.
Yep, great. Q&A. So we've got some questions here from some different people. So Lace, why don't we start with first question?
If my marketing isn't working, where should I start?
Yeah.
Watch this video.
Yeah, call us.
Call Pure Media,
Yeah, exactly.
and we will help you.
Yeah.
Do this
Oh,
free
goodness.
sales assessment.
Exactly.
All right? Yeah.
Oh, God.
So I think, when we talk about that, I think you need to do what we call as an audit.
Yes.
And so we
Yes.
do this, and we've done free brand audits. Audit your brand, audit your messaging.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is there areas where your messaging is not clear?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not working, what's wrong with the working? Is the messaging there? Maybe there's too many call to actions.
Yes.
Maybe it's not clear. Maybe you're not hitting your ideal audience.
Yeah.
And so there's a disconnect somewhere. And so we need to audit. We audit our finances every year through a CPA before we submit them. I think that's great because getting an outside person to come in and look at something, we're going to be able to see with a bird's eye view of something you're maybe not seeing.
Yeah.
And be able to help you to fine tune that.
Yeah, I actually call it the ugly pillow syndrome. And so basically you're in your house and sometimes you have
I've
pillows
never heard this one.
that
Here
are
we go.
on your, I think I may have made it up, but they're on your sofa or, the ugly picture that's hanging up and you always walk past it. It's always
immune to
there.
it.
Yeah, and you don't even see it. So you really need a different perspective to come in to take stock of, hey, that pillow's a little dingy. We need to switch out that artwork. It's looking a little yellow.
I
That's
did that.
good.
I came back from traveling from the hotel and they have the heavenly bed, and I
Okay,
came back and I'm like,
yeah.
babe, we need to change our pillows. These are terrible. How long
That
have
is
we had these things?
hilarious.
But you just get used to it. You're
It's
exactly
true,
right.
yeah.
Exactly right.
So most companies that I see normally have more than one issue in their marketing. It's not normally just one thing. It's normally there's a couple of steps missing there in your system. And so just look at from what we talked about today with your ecosystem. In all those different things, where are you weakest? Where could someone fall through the cracks in one of those ways? That's probably where part of the issue is there. Then start working on those things. If you need help, talk with the team here. Otherwise, just start trying to implement. I mean, we've given you a huge amount of information here. Just try and put some of these things in. It's going to start helping you there. Okay, next question. What's the biggest mistake businesses make with marketing and branding? Well, Lace, as the brand strategist, what is the biggest mistake?
Relying only on paid ads.
Yes.
Please don't only rely on that. Figure out what's working for you, what's not working for you. And you can always create, and we've done this before, an organic ad, organic social media post, and then make that be the ad because that one's the one that's performing well. And sometimes you don't really know what people are liking out there. So you need to test the waters. You need to put it out there and make sure you're not just pumping a bunch of money and wasting it, but really is your messaging clear? The value of what you offer? Are you representing who you are? I think that will help you a lot in that.
And just to add that, I think we talked earlier about differentiation.
Yeah.
You just because you're marketing something, if it's not clear of how you stand out, why should people choose you? And so you need to make that clear that you're not just another someone else out there. And we look at that when we look at products. You can Google a product and you've got all these companies. Well, what stands out?
Right.
If there's not differentiation there, then they're just going to pick whoever comes up at the top. And so we need to have that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump on to our third one here. How can I make my brand stand out in a crowded market? Who would like to jump on that?
I would say build a personal brand.
There you go. Yeah.
We need to make sure we know, again, who you are, that people can trust you. Sometimes there's people out there we talked about, they're not very likable. And they have a brand and they're smart. If you're too scary and your brand's not likable, get around people who will help you be likable, who will warm up your audience, be a little bit more warm and friendly. I have some CEOs and they are just like, I want my brand to be just like me. Sharp, firm, but then really what are they selling? Like popsicles to kids.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, no, it can't be just like you. Make sure your brand has a personality and that you're showcasing it in a really clear way.
Yeah. And I think, back to immersion brings conversion. You need to create that community and engagement. So create conversations.
Yes.
You get people interacting. I like, when people go there and say, hey, what are your top 3 things? Once you get people engaging with you and they want to see the answers, all of that, you're creating that following.
So true.
So I think that's so important in a crowded market. The more engagement you get, the more immersion, you're going to have that conversion.
Yeah.
And if they're immersing with you, they're conversing with you, they're not going to be conversing with someone else because they're talking to you.
So true, yeah.
And that's going to set you up to be able to serve them or sell them.
Yeah, I think just re-asking that question, how can I make my brand stand out in a crowded market? Standing out is the thing here. Don't be doing the same thing as everybody else.
We think more content is going to do it. It's not about more content.
It's not. You just sound like everybody else. And you just confuse, you literally confuse your target audience more and make them not pick you.
Yeah.
If there's no clear choice, Apple is a clear choice from Android. They have worked so hard on doing that.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Make yourself different. How are you going to differentiate from everybody else? How are you going to cause yourself to stand out? Think about that. Ask yourself that question. Where am I not standing out? Where am I blending in with everybody? Do people see me as a different option? If I am a different option, how does it help them in a better way? Start asking these deeper questions, and that will really kind of help you.
Yeah, really bring quality to them. Very good.
Next question. How do I know my business has a branding problem or a marketing problem?
Oh, I'm going for this
Call up for a free branding consultation. No, okay. Let's get some pointers. How can we help people?
So branding, just think of it like this. It's a really easy way to think of it. So marketing is putting a megaphone to your mouth, okay? Like a microphone. It's just going to amplify everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay?
Good and the bad.
Yeah.
Good and the bad. Branding is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay? So if it's getting out to everybody and nobody's doing anything, it's a branding problem. Okay? So that's part of the thing there. If your message and your brand is on point, but it's not getting out to everybody, it's a marketing problem. Most people have both of these problems.
Yeah.
Because their branding is not really, their messaging is not unique, their position is not different, and so it just sounds loud and slightly okay. So you need to work on both of these things here.
Fix your brand, then scale your marketing.
Yeah.
In that order.
But we think, I just need more money into marketing, but your brand, all you're doing is marketing something bad.
Shouting a bad message.
Yeah.
Shouting a bad message
That's
is not
so
going to
good.
work for you. That's one of the biggest things I would say.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, next question. What's the most important marketing trend for 2025?
Okay, I like this one. Personalization. Okay, the thing that AI is doing, which AI is going to continue to grow, it's going to continue to develop, but the thing that's not going to change is it being about people. AI is literally designed for a specific person. So rather than so for example, you're seeing a massive swing right now from people searching on Google to searching on ChatGPT.
True.
Why? Because ChatGPT has started to know this person and then is customizing all of its searches for that very specific person and giving them personalized information. So you actually need to do the same. So first of all, leverage AI. AI can help you to personalize things at rapid speed.
Yeah.
You can personalize automated responses. Google does this really well. Their whole chat bots, all these things are personalized to your account. It's to a very specific thing. So you need to, you need to work on that personalization and customization. That is the move of where marketing's going right now.
Yeah. And I think we see the comeback of long content.
Yeah.
It used to be quick. You got to catch their attention in a few seconds and, 45-second reels and all this.
Yeah.
That still works in the sense to create attention, but people are wanting that immersion before they build trust. And so you see podcasts coming back. I mean, we look at Joe Rogan's podcast. We mentioned him earlier.
Biggest in the world.
3-hour podcast usually.
Amazing.
I mean, it's great. Nobody would listen to 3 hours, but it's interesting.
Right.
It's conversational.
Yeah.
It's not just informational. It's there's entertaining but value being there.
Yeah.
I think those things are coming back. The webinar. Basically, it's authority-driven content.
That's so true. Yeah.
To where we're adding value to people, and then it's building that trust. People are taking more time to trust.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think putting those things out, looking at those trends, and adapting our marketing to what's working. I remember when I first started a podcast in one of my businesses, And I was like, nobody's going to listen to this. It's too long. Like, I sell courses. Why I want to do this for free and all that. But I had to change with the trend also, and then started seeing it's working, started seeing the transactions and the long-term return. But in my old school mindset, like, I'm not giving this away for free. Like, I spent a lot of money
change our mindset on
to
that,
learn this. But we've got to adjust to that trend in that. And again, adding value to people is where it's at.
Yeah.
Because when you have that trust, again, immersion brings conversion. I keep saying this over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Write it down, people.
They're going to transact with you. And then I think, also giving people options. You don't want to give them too many options to confuse them. But again, maybe they're not able to transact with you at the level where you could bring the most value. But how can you downsell them?
Yeah, so good.
To give them something to start out. And we've done that because we, sometimes don't want to take the little deals. We want to focus on what we feel can add the most value. But then other times we want to help people. Sales is serving. How can we create something to help that person with their next step? And it may be a baby step. It may be part of what we would normally do. But then as they do that, they're going to come back and eventually upsell to what we wanted to sell them, and that can help them.
Yeah, majority of the time they
exactly. It's the ecosystem. The small fish feed the medium-sized fish. The medium-sized fish feed the big fish.
Small fish.
Yeah. So if you just have giant fish, then there's very few fish that can eat that fish.
That's so
right?
good,
So you got to think about that. And if you just have small fish, then you're not gonna get that big fish either. So you got to look at those different things there. So
yeah, and then just ending it with even again, one of the most important marketing trends I really feel like for 2025, so they get the most value out of this, is building your own audience. So what do I mean by that? Don't just rely on social media. I mean, we've even seen right now, where there's been social media platforms that have shut down. Maybe it was just for 12 hours. But what am I saying? Don't rely only on them. Have your email list. Build that community so you can continue to reach out to them and to target them.
Yeah. What an amazing business growth lab. Come on.
There you go.
Awesome.
So,
Episode 1.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Growth Lab. We hope that you found this really enjoyable. This is going to be twice a month. We're going to be sat here. Please write into us if you have other questions. We love today's questions.
Put them in the comments.
Put them in the comments there. You can write into us.
We like reading them.
Yeah, we do. Support at Your Pure Media. That will be in the comments there for those questions. Take the business and marketing health assessment for 2025. That is our recommendation
it's
to
free.
you. It's totally free. There's nothing. There's no sales options there. There's no money involved.
No credit card.
There's no credit card.
Can't even give it to us. We won't take it.
Yeah, we won't take it. All it is you getting the insights that you need really to help your business this year. So really want to encourage you guys to do that. And once again, if you could hit that subscribe button and then go further right now, hit the button and then
hit the notification.
Hit the notification. If you know a business owner or someone involved maybe in marketing, branding, that this could really benefit, would you share that with them today? And that way that we can help more people just like you. And so this concludes our very first episode.
An amazing episode. Come on, fist bump. Fist bump.
Boom.
Awesome.
Air bump.
Boom.
See you in the next live.
Yeah.
See you in the next live.
Sounds great.
Thank you, guys.